I'm live.
Now we're live.
All right.
Okay, let's set up
Awesome.
shot. Okay. Yeah, and again, if you want to do like the rap later, we can do. You take some time, work on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta play this stuff by as you go. Okay. We'll have two unique angles. One on Facebook, which looks the best, and then mine where I'm at this weird Dutch angle because I'm artistic. Yeah.
Welcome everybody to the Bro Show. Sorry, so late for technical difficulties. So today's episode, we were supposed to have Star Killer with us, but he actually got held up at work. So
I think also he's just delayed because he knows he and I have to talk about Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, and we're putting it off. We're putting it off because we're terrified to talk about that movie. We're supposed to do that. I think
just do a different episode then.
We got some stuff like in the works. Like Loki came out, so we're gonna start needing to watch that and get caught up in that. But we have a lot to say about that. But we'll do it later. John, what are we talking about today?
So, greatest heavy metal bands of all time.
Greatest heavy metal bands of all time. Okay, so I want to start off by saying, this may be like a little bit similar to our first show.
Very similar to the first show.
Yeah, in that one of us, maybe the bald dummy who's talking, picked 3 Guardians of the Galaxy characters.
He has more hair than me.
I do.
You do. You can grow hair. I can't even grow hair.
Oh, you can grow it here.
Yeah, I can grow it there. I can grow it other places, but that doesn't matter.
That's what you need to do. Like, Lynn, is that a good idea? Like, you can get like butt hair transplants on the top of this. That would be good. So, anyway, someone picked 3 Guardians of the Galaxy characters, and someone else called them out on their bullshit. And this may be a similar example. So I'm going to have a prediction for tonight's show. That we also have a baby nearby who's being cute. She will photobomb us at some point. I predict that John will destroy me during the course of this video because I love metal music, but this man is like a scholar when it comes to metal and rap, and he looks these things up, and he's basically VH1. So I have a feeling VH1 here is going to school me right now, but I had to go with my own personal taste. I would compare this to like Jay Bauman and Mike Skolkasa doing like a list, where like Mike's is less professional; it's more just raw emotion, whereas Jay's the more consummate perception. You don't know what I'm talking about right now, but it's
but I think he had a better idea when he was comparing me, Star Killer, and himself to the original Captain Kirk, Spock, and McCoy.
This man is
But Star Killer couldn't make it.
Yeah,
Star Killer was the Kirk, so you're stuck with Spock and McCoy.
Yes, explaining the joke. This man is Spock. Spock is very, very logical and very, very intellectual about his decisions, whereas McCoy is very raw emotion. You green-blooded Vulcan, blah, blah, blah. And they bicker back and forth. Meanwhile, Josh is kind of in the middle, is kind of thinking, and he's reasonable. He's a mix of the two. Spock, Kirk, and McCoy are symbolic of the superego, the ego, and the id from Sigmund Freud's philosophy and whatnot. And this has a lot to do with metal, so I'm going to shut up now and stop talking about metal and stop talking about Star Trek and psychology.
Yeah, there's a lot of metalheads.
So honorable mentions, because again,
I'm not one of them.
Yeah, forewarned, I'm going full Yondo on this one. So I have some honorable mentions I'd like to talk about. I'm just going to try to do these in one sentence each. So
I'm not going to let him do it in one sentence each.
Okay.
So as soon as he says one, I'm just going to rat off on it.
Okay, well, I want to say a little bit about each one. I just want to do it quickly.
Well, you are going to say each one.
Okay, first honorable mention is and then I started choking on camera. First honorable mention is Hailstorm, and I wanted to select Hailstorm for honorable mention because I have I already have another option which basically represents my personal take on best a rock band that.
What genre is Hailstorm?
She's rock. She's metal. She's definitely metal.
Yeah, but what subgenre?
I don't know. I don't care.
And what's up with you with Cheese?
What about Cheese?
Yeah. Are we looking at the skill of the band, or we're looking at the hot lead singer?
Boops. Okay. Well, actually, that was very. Oh, good. You already canceled us. You just canceled us just now. That's fine. So I was going to bring this up. Is
Kevin Hart.
My point is, my reason for putting Hailstorm here was because I have another option which features like what I'd consider like my best choice for like a lead female singer in a band that I think is like the best of all time. But I felt like it would be really foolish of me not to acknowledge how awesome Lizzie Hale is, and so that's why I put her there. Next honorable mention is Thor. The reason why is because I absolutely love the music of John Michael Thor, and there's going to be a theme with my music, which is the bombast, the fantasy style of metal, and he does that. The John Michael Thor songs I've listened to are freaking awesome, and I'm also familiar with his film career, like Rock and Roll Nightmare, and he did a zombie movie.
You're talking about the singer. What about the band?
The band. His band is called Thor.
No, I understand that, but what's so great about the band?
He's freaking awesome, but the thing is, I don't actually know above. They are awesome. Whatever.
But this is not the greatest frontman of
Whatever.
all time of heavy metal. This is not the greatest vocalist of all time. It's the greatest band.
This is what we're going to be dealing with here tonight because he likes to fine tune things like that. Where McCoy don't give a fuck. My reason I put Thor would probably make my top, but the reason I didn't put him on there was because I actually haven't listened that enough of John Michael Thor and his band. So maybe later I need to familiarize myself with it more, and it probably would make the list later. Next up is King Diamond / Merciful Fate, especially because you gave me crap about it. And
you put Merciful Fate on there, no arguments whatsoever with Merciful Fate.
Merciful Fate. Again, Merciful Fate actually would not be on the list simply because I haven't listened to enough of it. I listened to a little bit. I really liked it. I haven't finished it yet. King Diamond I really like, but there's just others that are my absolute favorites of all time. Next up, I have Rise Against. Rise Against is not on the list because Rise Against...
Oh my god, they are horrible.
You
didn't.
Rise Against is awesome.
I hate that band.
Well, that's your
They're
problem.
friggin' garbage.
Rise Against is awesome.
Oh my god. It makes me rise against my equilibrium
You're
in my
garbage,
gut.
Baby Yoda. Maybe the Chicken Man was right to try to genetically clone you and make a bunch of clone Jedis. He's got a Baby Yoda shirt. That's the only point of that. Rise Against I really like, but they are not really...
Rise Against Humanity.
You're not... I'm taking a little while to figure out that joke. It's just that was funny. That was funny. I'm done. Anyway, Rise Against. So Rise Against is not really on my list because it's alternative rock. It's not really metal. This is the few times where I would like. I like alternative rock, unlike some people. But also, I think I really like their band. I feel like they have a nice metal sound, and they're also very conscious. They talk about politics and environmentalism. I think that's really great. Okay, so the next one is what the fuck is wrong with you? Why didn't you put this on your main list? The next three are classic metals that belong on anybody's list. I know what you're going to say about the next one, Guns N' Roses, which I think we agree on this.
Listen.
I really like Guns N' Roses. I think they're great, but go ahead and say it.
Guns N' Roses is a great band, right?
Mm-hmm.
My problem with Guns N' Roses is I feel that they're the most overrated metal act there is.
I agree, and that's why they didn't make my list.
I mean... You have one great player in that band, in my opinion. One great player, and that's Slash.
Yeah,
that's it. The drummer is nothing special. The bass player is nothing special.
Let Axl singing, regardless of his
Axl sounds like a screeching cat. A lot of that's in the studio. If you hear him live, I mean, it's just he's not consistent in his performances live.
Yeah.
He would even make it in my top 10 list.
I pretty much agree.
Of greatest metal frontmen.
But I still really
King Diamond would make my list as greatest frontman.
Yeah.
His voice...
My honorable mentions are in no particular order.
I'm telling you right now, King Diamond's voice live is just as good as King Diamond on wax.
I really like Guns N' Roses, but I pretty much agree. I think they're a little overrated. Next up, I have AC/DC, which honestly, if I were to rate these, this would be number 11 because I really love AC/DC.
I love AC/DC, but a good thing my brother's not on here, but I don't think AC/DC is a metal band.
I think when we hear Star Killers, it's gonna be on there. But I think AC/DC is great, and I find myself listening to them all the time, so they should be up there. But they're just not quite my favorite, so that's why I didn't quite make it. Similarly is Motorhead. First of all, rest in power.
Lemmy is
God. Filthy Animal Taylor.
But Lemmy is one man. That's why Motorhead did not make my list. Because Lemmy is one man.
Motorhead is definitely metal, and I really like them a lot. But also Motorhead...
They are important to metal.
Yeah.
And Lemmy is, actually.
Yeah.
Lemmy is more important to metal. I mean, it's just as important to metal as Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, any of the originators. Lemmy is phenomenal. Lemmy wrote songs for Ozzy.
Right.
Ozzy's solo career.
Yeah.
I mean...
So what you're saying is I better put him in my top 10 frontmen, otherwise...
Oh my god, yes. Or I will put you in my barbecue pit.
Ow. Okay.
Lemmy is... I'm telling you, Lemmy is just he was great.
Another reason why Motorhead's not quite on my list
Triple H will agree with me.
To me, Motorhead is very... is less... There is a little bit of storytelling, but it's less about storytelling. To me, it feels more like it's about the rock and roll lifestyle. They got White Line Fever. That's about them doing cocaine.
Yes,
and there's a negative side to it.
A lot of it has, but he does have some.
Yeah,
Dio-esque stuff.
Right, definitely.
So I don't think you've listened to first of all, you can spend a lifetime listening to Motorhead's catalog. Motorhead's catalog is probably 1 million songs.
Right.
I mean, he was the Tupac of heavy metal when it came to as much recording.
Yeah.
Lemmy recorded probably 2 albums a year at least.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I really like Motorhead, but there's something about it that it just kind of quite. It's not 100% like my jam, just a little bit, because I think a lot, because I really can't, and I don't really want to relate to I appreciate the rock and roll lifestyle every now and then, and that's a lot of what I've heard from him.
You have to listen to Orgasmatron.
I need to listen to Orgasmatron.
Oh my god, it's so good.
I don't think I've listened. I don't know if I've listened. I don't think
so good.
I don't know. It might be in my collection somewhere, but
I'm telling you, it's
but a lot of the stuff, it's just not quite my jam.
If you want to get educated on Motorhead, No Remorse is the greatest hits that was ever put. It's actually number 7, I want to say, on Rolling Stone magazine's 100 greatest metal albums of all time. It was one of the 25% of the list that I agreed with.
Yeah.
Because you can't, Motorhead had a slew of good albums, but Motorhead's body of work is ridiculously huge. I mean, it is more than Metallica, Black Sabbath, Megadeth, and Iron Maiden put together.
In other words, I had to put it on my honorable mentions list, even though I didn't make my personal top 10. But it's we all both agree, probably not quite top 10 material. Next up, I have a couple newer bands on my list that he really is what the hell's wrong with me? And so I wanted to mention one that didn't quite make the list, but I really like, which is Dragon Force. I really like Dragon Force.
Who the heck is that?
Dragon Force is awesome.
Oh my god.
Dragon Force is a newer rock. About 10 years ago, a lot of these
anybody out there
I'll talk more about
Dragon Force is. Anybody.
People do know about Dragon Force. But it's anyway, I'll talk more about the whole issue with Dragon Force and some of my other choices when I get to it on the actual list. Finally, my last honorable mention is Tenacious D. And Tenacious D is primarily an acting troupe. Just 2 dudes.
Tenacious D is Weird Al meets heavy metal. Tenacious D is not one of the greatest metal bands of all time.
Exactly. But I felt like they were important, especially for me, because they were very important in getting to me into some of my personal favorite musics of all time. So I felt like if it wasn't for them, and I think they do rock, and they are pretty good for a comedy duo.
Well, not only that, it's 2 guys. The
Yeah.
sound that they get out of those 2 guys is pretty funny. I mean, they're a lot better than probably most of those people you mentioned on there.
Fair enough. Yeah. So that's my honorable mentions list, and we're done with that. Do you want me to start?
So while we're going to do honorable mentions, I didn't write it down, but I could say right off the back, Motley Crue. Motley Crue invented hair metal. If you're into that or you're not into it. But what I love about Motley Crue is that Motley Crue was hair metal lyrically, but the sound, especially early Motley Crue, was Sabbath-esque.
Yeah.
I mean, with live wire, that crunch there.
Hair
I mean,
metal's still good.
it was just as obnoxious as Metallica.
Hair metal's still good. A lot of
but
people like to shit on it. It's
there's a lot of good stuff, especially if you want to get romantic or be on a date. You know, I mean, because there's something there, but Motley Crue's sound was extremely heavy. Loved their body of work. It just didn't make the list for me. Probably maybe a top 20. But the Motley Crue, I gotta say, was definitely one of them. Another one would be
Motley Crue's a good choice.
And I'm sticking with people who actually topped genres here that didn't make it to my list. Subgenres of metal. So the next one for me, I'm not into death metal or anything where it's but that comes close to it is Sepultura.
I've heard a little bit of Sepultura. I enjoy them.
Oh my god!
I like a little more death metal than he does.
So good.
So for those of you who read his album reviews, he kills me with the metal ones because it's always like, oh, this one's garbage. This one's garbage. That's what you sound. That's what you sound like. But yeah, because I get what he's saying, but at the same time, I can deal with a little metal in my life. So it doesn't. I could get into a little bit more, but yeah, Sepultura was really good.
Sepultura is really.
I haven't heard a whole lot of them, but I was.
And what I love about Sepultura is they're Brazilian. So we're talking about a non-English speaking band that kind of learned to speak English, wrote in English, and took the thrash metal sound and made it heavier and Max just sounds like a freaking bear, roots, bloody roots. Like, oh my god. And what I loved about it is because he actually talks about like the Afro trade, going to Brazil and stuff like that. He's talking about tracing back to their roots. So, I mean, it's a Brazilian band, and they bring that tribal, that African feel to it from their ancestors, because a lot of us Latins are actually mixed, from Spain, and as Brazil from Portugal, but also with African ancestors, and also indigenous people ancestors in the mix, and that's what you got a lot of us Latinos. So I love that with Sepultura, the music in there, the double bass drums, it's always on hit, and it's his brother Igor Claveria, Max Claveria vocalist, dynamic duo. Too bad they couldn't really get along. The bass is always pumping on there. I mean, it's just a freaking great band. A next honorable mention is the best to do it when it comes to rap metal. There really isn't like a big, huge following in rap metal. But the best that did it was Rage Against the Machine.
Hell yeah.
And,
Rage Against the Machine, yeah.
Tom Morello, he's like one of the greatest guitarists of all time. Tom Morello sounds... there's a lot of time when you listen to Tom playing, it sounds like someone scratching a turntable. And if you read the credits, they say nothing else was used in making sounds for this album but a guitar, a bass, a drum, and a microphone. Yeah. That's it. And you listen to it and you're like, there's got to be some type of video effects on there, sound effects, turntable scratching, beat sampling, none of it. Everything is done by those 4 guys and their 4 basic tools.
And they're raw. They're just like, and I like talk about social commentary. They're just really good.
Huge.
I'm just thinking of Renegades of Funk, like right off the top of my head when you mentioned them. It's just like,
Bulls on Parade. Yeah. Wake Up. Mm-hmm. Oh God, I love the line where it says, "Those who work in forces are the same that burn crosses."
That's what's in my head right now. Yeah.
Oh my God. So stuff that's still prevalent, and I mean, we're talking about. That quote was from the album in 92?
92, yeah.
So, another honorable mention. At this point, yeah. My Gorgeous Queen was born in 92. Yeah. So, another honorable mention, and rest in power, Chester Bennington, is Linkin Park. I think as far as a newer band, they were phenomenal. Another rap metal.
This is one of the ones where I was like, he's gonna pick it, so I didn't have to pick it. It was like, and I wasn't sure.
It didn't make the list, but I think
I love Linkin Park.
Well, Linkin Park, I didn't think they had enough classic albums. The bands I'm going to talk about have like major classic albums of metal.
See, that's another one where I was like, is that metal? Is Linkin Park more like rap rock? I wasn't sure, so I was like,
it's metal. Like it's got other genres want to claim them, and you know, if you go by like specific songs, we're talking about a whole different ballpark.
All right, Linkin Park's my number 11. Linkin Park's like, I got a quick rewrite.
Linkin Park.
Sorry, ACDC, gotta move you down a couple notches.
Linkin Park was really, really, really.
Yeah, I really love Linkin Park. Linkin Park's awesome. And I miss Chester.
I mean, Chester's voice. Chester sounded like Rob Halford meets some of the Backstreet Boys. Yeah, like he could sing like one of the Backstreet Boys. Like you hear him. In the end, it doesn't really matter.
He can also scream though.
Then he goes, and just kills it.
It's like just everything you got. You get this the rap part of it.
Absolutely,
you know, it's like it was on fire.
Great.
Like
Mike Chioda's rapping was beautiful.
Like
beautiful. Like Fort Minor is great. I'll be right back.
Okay, you got like I can carry some Linkin Park. You got like Bleed It Out. Meteora was really great. I love Try to Give You Warning, which has that like whole like Japanese flute. It's like I always think of like a samurai anime whenever I hear that song. That's like my personal favorite. It's like it's kind of a sleeper hit, but I love that one.
The ribs are ready, baby.
There's also a lot of really good. Again, social commentary. They were very socially conscious when they were going. They
had a lot of like heartache songs and pop songs. Also, they felt short. I didn't think they spit out 100% classic albums.
When Chester died, I was messing me up. It was just Rest in power, man. It's like
so
this is all he was going through, and it was like I think it was like Soundgarden did it. Like the guy from Soundgarden died. Who I'm spacing on the name of right now.
Oh, Chris Cornell.
Chris Cornell, who was also really awesome. I should also put on my this honorable mention list of mine can just go on forever. I think. Keep going.
Yeah. So one more, and then we're gonna kick into the real list. Is Alice in Chains.
Okay.
I have never been a fan of grunge, but this grunge metal band grew on me, and they are definitely, I would say probably Nirvana meets Black Sabbath meets Metallica, the Load version of Metallica, very dark, dreary. There was a lot of pain in Line Stanley's singing and lyrics, and Jerry Cantrell did a lot of writing too. His lyrics were very thought provocative. It was really dark. It was just absolutely great stuff. And rest in power, Line Stanley. But yeah, let's go ahead and kick it off.
Two more. I thought two more. Okay. Rammstein and Power Glove. Power Glove because they do really cool video games.
Rammstein doesn't do it for me because Rammstein speaks in German. I don't speak German.
But they're just like du hast Langstein. I don't know what they're saying either, but they're awesome. I think that's the reason why. It's just the language difference. But it's but they're like just fire fry. Yes. And Power Glove does really awesome, video game.
I don't know who you even talking
Power
about.
Glove is a newer band that you wouldn't know, but Power Glove does a lot of video game related stuff and old classic cartoon shows. They do metal versions of. I think they have a Power Rangers thing. Power Glove's awesome. Okay, proper list. Go ahead. Am I going first?
Yeah.
Okay.
You started first.
All right. Okay. So my number 10 is going to hurt his brain. My number 10 is Hammerfall, and
who is that?
Hammerfall.
Who is that?
Now, I believe it's a Finnish or Swiss band. I think my set number 2 is a Swiss. This is from Finland. Hammerfall, I believe, is from Finland.
They speak English?
They do speak. That's Europe. A lot of European bands just speak English. I went to
them,
Norway. Everyone
don't.
in Norway I met speaks English. So
is this what inspired you? When you were in the Navy, you feel like, oh, that's listen to Hammerfall.
No, that's not what did it. They don't know. They sing in English, man. And that's how I was able to recognize them. So anyway, about 10 or close to 20 years ago, I'm old. I felt like metal was kind of...
I'm older, unfortunately.
Yeah, metal was kind of dying, and it was we were losing it in the media, and it's not so much like hip-hop was kind of taking over, but it also just felt like pop in general was taking over, and it was you couldn't really... I felt like you couldn't
for
find...
the past 10 years, if you're talking about the past 10 years, I'm going to say the best music was pop music.
Yeah. And there's a lot of
hip hop and heavy metal died from 2010.
Right, and there's a lot of good pop music out there too.
Sorry,
so, I mean, it's
if you're offended, I'm sorry. I will challenge anybody talking about.
I think
rappers and metal artists that started in 2010 versus ones that started before 2010. We can go head to head on that.
I think
this disappointed.
Well, and again, there's a lot of good pop music out there too. So it's
pop music is great. You had Imagine Dragons.
Yeah.
You gotta make fun of me all I want, but I'll listen to Taylor Swift before I listen to Madonna.
Taylor Swift's raw.
I mean,
Taylor Swift, especially
you got Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a lot of,
especially when Taylor Swift,
lot of great talent with these.
I think when Taylor Swift's being mean, she's at her best. It was like I really liked Bad Blood. I liked Look What You Made Me Do. I think that one's a hot song. And just also Blank Space, I really like. So pop's doing good stuff. It's still really really good. But I was looking for metal music, someone new who's doing this, and I found in Europe, there's a lot going on. And Hammerfall's one of the first that I just fell in love with. And so much so they pushed Dragon Force into the honorable mention phase. But Dragon Force was another band I discovered at the time. Hammerfall, just what I was looking for, the bomb pass, a little bit of storytelling, was Hammerfall. Hammerfall, they caught me with Hearts on Fire. They can go soft with a great song, Always Will Be, which is also a vampire music video. It's really cool. There's Last Man Standing. There's a lot of good stuff from Hammerfall. And they're pretty awesome.
What's that?
Lights?
Nah, I can turn it off.
What? I think it looks a good idea.
Do they like it better?
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, fine.
I don't. Viewers, tell us lights on or off. Now Starkiller argued that they're more of a cult band. This is why he thinks I'm on drugs, which is fair.
Because we're not talking about cult bands. We're talking about the greatest bands of all time.
Yeah, for me, Hammerfall is one of the greatest bands of all time. Hammerfall is my number 10. It's my number 10. I'm sticking to it. I'm going full Yondo. Yeah.
Little
cafe just on the other side of
just
the
as many
border.
people know who Hammer
Come a
Falls
little bit
probably know who
closer.
Yondo is.
So big and so strong. Come a little. I gotta go with my yeah.
whatever.
So okay. John thinks I'm crazy. I think that's
So number 10 was one of the groups that was partly responsible for the new wave of British heavy metal, which revolutionized metal because metal in the 70s, let's face it, was pretty much Black Sabbath. That was it. It was Black Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of hard rock bands that people get confused with, so they think that Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, that was 70s heavy metal. That's not heavy metal. Black Sabbath is heavy metal. And if you listen to Black Sabbath, you listen to other bands, they're hard. They're kind of like AC/DC, but they're not heavy metal. They may have inspired other artists to become heavy metal, but they're not heavy metal. And, if we do a greatest hard rock list, don't be surprised if they are on my list because I do love Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin, most definitely. But they're not heavy metal. And Led Zeppelin will get pissed off if you tell them they're heavy metal. They can't. They just don't believe that. So getting to this band started hard rock, started psychedelic. This band has been around since 1968, believe it or not.
Yeah.
This band is older than Mummy Dust. And they didn't get their break, really, until 1978.
Yeah.
So after 10 years of doing it, almost ready to give up on it, they have a breakthrough on there. And they switched their outfits. They had kind of this hippie type of look, and they went leather. They brought leather to heavy metal. Mm-hmm. And also brought the first, maybe the only one that I know of, homosexual singer to heavy metal.
I don't think he's the only one, but it's like many people consider Freddie Mercury to be heavy metal in many regards.
Freddie Mercury's not heavy metal.
Like I've heard, especially on YouTube, the people that have argued that he's metal, but it's like
Freddie Mercury is not heavy metal.
He's definitely influential, but it's like
he is hugely influential
yeah.
in many genres of music. I mean, Freddie Mercury was just one of those that broke a lot of barriers.
Right. He's definitely cross genre.
He's huge cross genre.
But yeah.
But he's
not this person.
Heavy metal. I mean, so Stone Cold Crazy Nights inspired Metallica. They took that song and they turned a hard rock song
right
into heavy metal. But I mean, Queen in itself was.
I didn't mean to derail you this much. Continue.
No, it's fine. So getting back to it, number 10 is Judas Priest. I mean, Breaking the Law, living after midnight.
I will talk about
another
Judas
thing
Priest
coming.
later.
The Electric Eye. You got two great guitar players, KK Downing and Glenn Timpin. You have Ian Hill with his pounding bass. Rob Halford is definitely would be on my list of greatest frontmen for metal, but also vocalist. Rob's voice is just phenomenal, and I mean Rob's still kicking ass. I mean he's on that song with Five Finger Death Punch.
Yeah.
Oh God, I love that song so much.
Yeah, Five Finger Death Punch did not like they don't.
I'll make that an honorable mention.
I think I got one or two songs I really like. They're not really one of my favorites though. It's like, but it's like if that song would definitely be like, yeah, I want to hear that now because I haven't heard that one.
Oh, so good.
So I was listening to Judas Priest on the way here. Judas Priest made lists, so I'll talk more about him later. But yeah, Judas Priest is awesome.
Judas Priest is the only reason why Judas Priest isn't higher on the list because the other bands I just relate more to their music, and there's some better guitar players. There's some better writers. But Judas Priest is huge.
Yeah.
So next, number 9.
Number 9. Okay, my number 9 is Nightwish. So back to the this is again one of the newer bands, and back to my honorable mentions. The reason why Lizzie Hale isn't here is because I picked Nightwish. So Nightwish is Swedish, and Nightwish again
exactly.
They tie into more of their again one thing that's like concurrent with my list.
Are you like Dutch or something?
I'm Italian and Scotch Irish and a little bit German actually, The thing about Nightwish is that, again, Nightwish is one of those newer bands that I discovered way back when I was looking into Hammerfall and things like that. And,
According to my brother, the new version of metal called symphonic metal. Not
Symphonic.
something I've got into yet.
Yeah.
It does sound interesting. I did listen to one album of Nightwish.
Yeah,
I was not impressed.
It
wasn't pure trash, but I wasn't impressed.
Yeah, Nightwish I really like. I really like the symphonic metal. It was like, they're a nice combination of really just kind of very beautiful sounding music and like opera and things like that, and with raw heavy metal. Well, I got it. And just kind of raw heavy metal. They're also what's concurrent with a lot of my list is storytelling and the bombast of metal and the fantasy elements. And they just like, especially listening to them, it makes me think of crazy fantasy stuff and things like that. And also they've had two. They're also my choice for basically like female front woman because they've had two of them. The first one they had, I forget her name, and my bad. She's an opera singer, and she's really, really good. And she basically did Phantom of the Opera. And they even have a song where that's just her. And then after that, they had Annette Olson. I think that's why I keep on confusing Elizabeth Olsen with Annette Olson, partially because I'm dumb. But I really like Annette Olson. She took over and was like eventually when they lost the first singer. And one of my favorites from her was Amaranth, which Amaranth was like blue, like kind of made me. I'd already been listening to them and I already liked them, but Amaranth made me fall in love with the band. They also have a great song called "Bye Bye Beautiful," where like it starts. She's like singing most of the song, and then like in the refrain, the dudes like chime in. And it's just like did I ever hear what I wrote you? Did I ever? Hear? It just blows me away. It's really awesome. And that's Nightwish. That's my choice. Yeah. Now, if you want to make fun of me for like having a boner for these people, and that's why they're on the list, you could argue that because.
It's not an argument. Anybody can tell that's the whole reason why they're on.
But they're really good singers. They're really good singers. They're really awesome. I like the whole. I like the whole package. But it's not just. Argue. Well, here's the thing. Bye Bye Beautiful. Like part of the gimmick of that one is like the music video has a bunch of females in place of the normal male players of the game who are all really hot, but they don't do any singing. And then when the refrain comes in, they all turn back into dudes, and it's really cool. Also, all the dudes in that band look like they're Vikings, and that's awesome. So, Nightwish kicks ass. Also, my choice for best female lead. So, both of them are really good.
Some people may argue with me with the next couple of bands, like how can you put these bands above Judas Priest? But I did. I relate more to them, and I think that they kind of revolutionized metal because after the new wave of heavy metal, there's been other.
I can see someone giving you shit for that, but it's like
there's been other breakthroughs. So I think the last great metal band to come out, and after this, there's not a band that could break this list, and that was Slipknot. Slipknot, you first think is a bunch of idiots jumping around. We're going to start with 9 members. The first album was just beautiful, very loud, angry. But you can hear that Corey Taylor has a really beautiful voice.
Yeah.
I mean, later on you see him in Stone Sour. But what I love about Corey Taylor is that he can juggle both voices, very much like we were talking about Chester. But Corey is like balls on more with the metal sound.
Yeah.
And then he has that soulful grunge singing voice. Like the stuff he does with Stone Sour. But he's incorporated a lot of it with Slipknot, they got all kinds of percussionists on there.
Yeah.
So they use a lot of different kind of percussions on there. Obviously, they use beat machines. Also, they use turntables. There's a lot of sound in Slipknot. And
if you're a band and you don't have sound,
you're
probably doing something wrong.
It's an organized mess. Because there's a lot going on.
They're like messy but good.
Yeah, it is. It's this. They are like Picassos.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not as technical as a lot of the bands, in my opinion, that are on here, but they're like Picassos. I mean, Duality was a great album, which was actually Duality was on Subliminal Verse. Subliminal Verse was the real good album. See the Double Inside. I mean, they just keep going on. I mean, we're talking about they're like 6 albums deep now. The band just keeps going on. I think they just keep getting better with time too. Their second album, Iowa, was underrated. Iowa was just and it's funny because Rolling Stone didn't put any of Slipknot's albums except for Iowa.
Yeah.
Which I was shocked. But Iowa was like, to me, was like an underrated album, and I was like really shocked that that Rolling Stone had put it there on the 100 Greatest Hip Hop Albums. I love Iowa. Iowa's like that opening song, "People Equal Shit." I mean, you're pissed off. That just does it.
It's the metal wave of saying "hell is other people." Kurt Vonnegut.
You know, they really know how to reach out to their fans. I've seen them live, and I saw them when they first started. Yeah. So it was like Ozfest 90. I want to say 98. Yes, Ozfest 98. I saw them, and this Corey gets up there, and he's like, "You may not know who we are, but we're Slipknots, and you're all our maggots. So get the fuck up!" And they just all jumped in the air, and we all jumped in the air, and just all of a sudden it was just.
That's the sadomasochism.
Get up, you maggots! That was beautiful.
So
yeah, that's.
I feel
that's
like
one.
Slipknot. I pretty much agree. on Slipknot. So that's really good.
A beer.
Yeah, and I would have a beer, but I got to work. So, I think like the stereotype with Slipknot is like they're like Gwar, like because like when they first started off, they used to dress up a lot. I think they still do. Oh, yeah. But I think they're better than Gwar. Oh my God. I think like the Gwar is great for like the pageantry and like dressing up like a monster and stuff like that. But it's like the songs are not as like as great as they're still enjoyable, but they're not as like I think Slipknot's way better personally. So that's all I have to say. I guess it's my turn now.
It's your turn.
Okay. Feel alone. Number 8. Number 8. My pick was Marilyn Manson. So 9 and 10 represent my kind of newer metal music phase. The next 2 represent kind of my goth metal spot. And I feel like Marilyn Manson is.
Be careful what you say. Your words will be used against you.
That's fine. That's fine. I know it is. I know it. You're gonna crush me. I accept this. Marilyn Manson just like represents just kind of like the darker kind of goth rock music. I feel like he's one of the best of that genre. You got Jesus Christ Superstar. You know, you got.
He's not a good goth metal singer.
He's not.
He's not.
Okay.
Typo Negative is a goth metal.
Typo. Okay. Have you looked at the man?
Yes. So he has Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
Let's bring Alice Cooper originated that, right?
Yeah. So
he's put the paper, but Alice Cooper is not goth. Alice Cooper's not even metal.
Okay.
He's hard rock at best.
Everybody who's goth, like in the comment section, just come up and say me, just tell John how wrong he is.
Everybody's goth will definitely be able to remind Eddie of Mechanical Animals that putting titties on and red hair is not goth.
Yeah, it is. It totally is. You have an apparent.
So David Bowie is goth.
He's unbelievably.
David Bowie's goth.
I think goth people like him, but it's like he's very.
But David Bowie's not goth.
No, he's not goth, but Manson.
Do you know who inspired Marilyn Manson to create Mechanical Animals?
Not off the top of my head, VH1. Please tell me.
David Bowie.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It was supposed to be his Ziggy Stardust.
Well, you know what? I was thinking about this a minute ago. Listen, I love Led Zeppelin, but Led Zeppelin, you're metal. I know you're going to hate me for that. Because
Led Zeppelin, forgive him for he not knows what he says.
Forgive me, I do not know what I say.
He does
but like the thing is, like when it comes to rock music in general, like things influence each other. So it's like I feel like not acknowledging the gothness of Marilyn Manson is a huge oversight. But his
Marilyn Manson has a goth appearance. Marilyn Manson is also a big Cure fan. The Cure, very gothic motif, is not a goth band, but I mean that is what they dress.
By all means, feud in the comments section. I want arguments on this. But he's for me like kind of the darker aspect of it. He's very influential. So and like I think in particular, I really love his cover of Eurythmics, and just like
I think he is. If we were to do like a segment on metal covers, he would definitely encompass most of that. I think he's one of the best when it comes to covering non-metal songs.
You know what I was thinking?
Turning them into metal songs.
One of my personal favorites actually too is the Nightmare Before Christmas version. Like that one's like just like I have a completely different view of Halloween Town when he sings it. But yeah, he's very influential and very powerful, and just just smells like children. I don't like the drugs like me. He's good. He's not my personal favorite in terms of this darker aspect of rock, which will come up later. Which I think you're just we're kind of bleeding right into that. So I'm just gonna let you go for number 8.
So before I get to Marilyn, I gotta talk about Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
I am a huge Marilyn Manson fan.
Mm-hmm.
A big Marilyn Manson fan. My father hated me because I was a Marilyn Manson fan. He took my Marilyn Manson album and he broke it into shreds, and I went back out and I bought it again.
Yeah.
Seriously, huge Marilyn Manson fan, but not.
My audience just missed you flicking off the main camera. Thank you.
But not the band. Because Marilyn Manson, if you know anything about the band itself, has gone through several lineup changes. Mm-hmm. Marilyn Manson is pretty much the Temptations of heavy metal. They're constantly changing the band. So
we should do a top 10 Motown.
We can do that.
Do top 10 Motown. That'd be dope. Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
Got me thinking of the Temptations just now.
Audra DJ Reality might be on that one too, though. So she might want to be on that one.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Motown lately.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Motown's great.
Motown. I feel the best soul music, R&B music, came out of the '60s.
Well, I mean, I have
hands down.
That's why my kind of milquetoast musical upbringing is, I think, very positive, because my parents just listen to oldies constantly. Just like 50s and 60s, stuff like that, or even older. And it was and my dad's like a smooth jazz guy now, because he's old. So that's what old people like. Well, at least his generation.
Well, unless you're Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, exactly. So it gives me, I think, good variety.
Getting back to Marilyn Manson, the band it's been broken up. So Twiggy Ramirez, do I think he's one of the greatest bass players of all time? No. Do I think John Five is one of the greatest guitar players of all time? No. And those were some of the better ones. Do we even remember Zim Zum anymore? Tim Skold. I really don't even like the influence Tim Skold had on a lot of the Marilyn Manson stuff.
Yeah.
So I can't say it's one of the greatest bands of all time.
Yeah.
Though I would say Marilyn Manson is one of the greatest frontmen of all time. Definitely. I love Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson's in the CD changer. I love it, but not the band. If I was going off of that, I would have put freaking Rob Zombie on.
I think you're going to make this argument against me much later in the list and much higher on the list, which is fair.
Probably.
Yeah.
But I'll go and move along to my number 8. So my number 8 is very similar to his as far as the genres of music go. Marilyn Manson really is mostly, he does teeter-totter on other genres, but is industrialized thrash.
Right.
That is what he mainly does. There is some goth metal in there. There's some more traditional heavy metal in there. But he uses a lot of electronicas in his stuff.
Yeah.
G.W. Gacy, his guitar, he had a good keyboardist for the longest.
Yeah.
That guy was with him for the first 6 albums.
Yeah.
There was a keyboardist.
Yeah.
So you could tell that he was definitely industrialized. That was, his thing. And of course, his mentor, which wouldn't be an honorable mention because he's a one-man band. He's the Prince of Metal. Is 9 Inch Nails, Trent Reznor.
Yeah.
9 Inch Nails is Trent Reznor. Mm-hmm. That band doesn't even record. Trent Reznor.
Honorable mention, 9 Inch Nails. Trent Reznor.
Trent Reznor goes in the studio, does the shit himself like Prince did, and then goes on tour with the Revolution. And Prince goes on, and Reznor goes on tour with 9 Inch Nails. So it's the same thing. So, but number 8. This band was a tight-knit unit. Still is. Unfortunately, Fieldy decided to take a hiatus. I think Fieldy is one of the best modern bass players there is, playing that 7-string bass. And I probably gave it away at this point. It is Korn. Korn.
I'll talk about Korn in a minute.
Korn invented nu metal. I don't know who picked that name, NU metal. But nu metal is...
Because poor literacy is cool.
Who knows? But nu metal really is.
Shout out to Linkara.
Was the new metal? Because there wouldn't have been Slipknot without Korn. There wouldn't have been Limp Bizkit without Korn. There wouldn't have been System of a Down, Cold Chamber, Disturbed. any of those bands. None of those bands would exist without Korn.
And at this point, we're going to start getting closer and more similar in our choices and less insane and bleed divergent.
Korn definitely created new genres. Like I said, all these bands were going to create new waves of metal and genre. So, Judas Priest was part of the movement of the new wave of heavy metal. Slipknot was basically the next generation of heavy metal for the new millennium, and Korn created new metal in the early 90s, which, thrash and grunge were fading away. Metallica decided to do different stuff at this time when Korn, came out.
Yeah.
Metallica had just got off the Black Album. Then when Korn went to their second album, Metallica decided to create southern rock metal. And with Load has got his own genre. Because Load is not thrash.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And then Metallica is not even thrash. It's got parts of thrash in it, but most of the album is traditional heavy metal.
Right.
So Metallica even saw it coming, and Korn made it. And then Metallica actually releases a new metal album, which is Saint Anger.
Yeah.
Saint Anger has no guitar
The best
solos.
Metallica album.
So I love Saint Anger because to me,
I love Metallica in general. It's like
Well,
it sucked. It's like
Metallica is
like
shit
it.
on wax. It's still better than half the bands out there.
Exactly.
So Saint Anger to me was a classic album. I love Saint Anger. It has no guitar
Look,
solos.
if you're gonna call Metallica like shitty music, it's like calling it shitty food. Listen, but like Saint Anger may be like a burger from McDonald's, but if you're hungry enough, that's a good fucking burger. Okay, I'm sorry, it's not gourmet. It's still better than anything else the other motherfuckers can make. So it's like
Exactly. So Korn. So the original lineup was my favorite. David Solaria. I think his drumming probably inspired Saint Anger because he had a lot of that raw garage sound that they were trying to recreate in Saint Anger. Head and Monkey, their guitar playing is different. So one person is like doing the crunch and the other one's doing these weird sounds.
Yeah.
And it was just nothing like it. I mean, and then Jonathan Davis starts scatting to it. Rumba, 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 rumba. I mean, it's like some weird, crazy.
Me down.
Yeah, so they had
me down.
Yeah, so they had a really good sound.
Wow.
Almost taking like traditional jazz and mixing jazz and putting through a death metal grinder and coming out with Korn. Fieldy plays a 7-string bass. Also, Head and Monkey were playing detuned guitars, which was not done, all the way down to D. And then Fieldy with a 7-string bass, his sound is just popping. Just great. The songs, a lot of coming of age stuff.
Yeah.
Korn helped me through high school.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
My commentary
on first 3 albums helped me through high school.
My commentary on your pick for number 8, Korn. Number 7, Korn. So for all the reasons listed, again, like in terms of goth metal, I feel like it's important to acknowledge Manson, or at least in terms of darkness, regardless of the whatever. I feel like Korn is stronger in that level of darkness. Korn basically is there's just something about it.
What was a reality? Like Marilyn Manson's talking about more of a global thing when it comes to like politics. Manson's huge on politics, right?
Yeah.
But then Manson also talked about politics, but did this metaphorical thing with Antichrist Superstar,
right,
and Hollywood, comparing it to Satanism and stuff like that.
Right.
And so, but with Korn, we're talking about child molestation, bullying.
I think that's the thing. It's like not only does he talk about it, it's also like Jonathan Davis's own personal journey is very adamant in the music, and it's something. Yeah, it's like you said, you can relate to. It got you through high school. I think it got me through high school. And it's like it's still all of this kind of dark rock package, and it's like I always think like Korn like I think of like Vampire the Masquerade. I feel like like kind of gothic or modern gothic.
There's like a gothic sound to it too. It's kind of weird.
But it's also it's very
because it's got a hip hop.
Yeah,
to
it's
it.
very relatable.
They
I like that Jonathan
Ice Cube's Wicked.
Yeah, Jonathan Davis can rap. I like that too. It's like especially you were bringing up like Limp Bizkit and like how and I don't want to trash Limp Bizkit right now. I don't. I mean, we all know about Fred Durst, but it's like Limp Bizkit has its place, especially for like like the other people in the band. Chocolate starfish, hot rock flavored water. I have trouble. I don't want. Okay. Anyway, so there's that one song where like
I'm gonna tell you what they
remember
like Limp Bizkit when they came out.
There's
the
one,
Beastie Boys helped me appreciate
on Follow
Limp
the
Bizkit.
Leader. On Follow the Leader, there's a battle rap that they do, a battle rock rap they do, and Jonathan Davis destroys Fred Durst.
Jonathan Davis
just fucking
barely
destroys him.
But it was hilarious.
Yeah, it's just raw. It's just like it's great. A lot of great. Okay, a lot of tracks I like, of course, Follow the Leader, but also what's that old album? I like Chutes and Ladders is really good. It's kind of like one that people forget about. I think but that one's just like he's just singing Ring Around the Rosie, and it just gets more and more intense. And
it gets really dark. Where you go look in the shadows, color this pain, or I mean, it's just like oh my god.
Yeah, it gets twisted and nightmarish. It's like. Falling Away is really great. It's just like all of it. Feeding the Fallen again. Feeding the Fallen kind of takes me to Feeding the Fallen. Like it was taking me to like a vampire place back in high school. But now that I'm older and I've divvied up, it now takes me to a Lovecraft place. We come to this place, falling through time, living a hollow. It kind of takes me into space a little bit. And Korn's awesome. Korn's raw. It's my number 7. It's not my number 8 like John's is because I think it's better. And I actually elevated it above Manson.
But for me,
at this point, we get similar. We get very similar. It's placement's different.
My number 7 is better. First of all, this band is responsible for putting me into heavy metal.
Okay.
So.
It's like you picked your favorite instead of what VH1 tells you. Is that? Okay.
Fuck VH1. So. This band is celebrating 40 fucking years. I'm not picking a band that, it just happens to be my favorite. People have been listening to this band for 40 fucking years. This band had the most controversial name in 2001 and still kept the name and said, fuck you, to all of those people there. This band
I think you did that on both screens. Like one here,
one here.
One there. Like that's great.
Both. This band here is heavy metal at its finest. It's a thrash metal band. And yes, the big 4 thrash metal bands are on my list. So those who know.
That's your version of a Guardian of the Galaxy. That's your version of Yondo. Just all thrash.
No, because I did not pick Exodus. I didn't pick Testament.
Okay, so this is your Yondo. Because we haven't gotten to the next one will be your Drax. This is your Yondo.
Anthrax is not my Yondo.
Anthrax is
okay.
Yondo.
No. And okay, I said it already. Anthrax is number 7.
Tell me why Anthrax is your number 7, John.
Anthrax had a huge popularity in the late 90s. They were on Married with Children. They were on The Simpsons.
I forget this.
Yeah. I love them. And we're both singers.
Yeah.
Some people don't like John Bush. Some people don't like Joey Belladonna. Some people only love Joey Belladonna. Some people only love John Bush. I love both. Mm-hmm. I wish they kept both. I just think that would be great. They would just have both singers together. It would be the metal version of McCartney and Lennon. It would just be beautiful.
Yeah.
John Bush has a more soulful, raspy voice, and was great when Anthrax decided to do the same move like Metallica and get away from thrash and do a heavy metal album, even though their heavy metal album had more thrash than Metallica's Metallica.
Right.
Because the Sound of White Noise, that album is, and that was the album that turned me on to metal, was Sound of White Noise. So I was kind of getting bullied in high school, and I was dressed in all in black. And because I watched Terminator 2, to show you how old I am.
Yeah.
And
hey,
he dresses all in black and leather.
You know it. We all know it. Terminator 2 is one of the best movies of all time. I'm all time. I'm real happy for you. I'm real happy for
One
you.
of the best action movies of all time.
Yeah.
We're not talking about
Damn
Shakespearean stuff here.
No, it is.
Because
no.
I'll be back.
It's a great science fiction movie too. It's like Arnold picked these really great science fiction action movies, and this has a lot to do with heavy metal. It kind of does, but it's just like, listen,
Well, the skeleton definitely does.
Yeah, so I mean, like it's great. We may be old, but sometimes the old shit's good. You're all out there watching your 8-track tapes and your Godzilla versus King Kongs remakes. That original movie was in the 60s. Terminator 2 is the best movie of all time.
What's in that Mountain Dew?
I don't know. I'm turning into Josh Prey.
Okay.
Terminator 2 makes me feel like a vampire. Terminator 2 makes me feel like a vampire. Terminator 2 makes me think of Anthrax. It makes me headbang. Terminator 2 is raw. Man, I can't handle Terminator 2. Okay, I'm going to shut the fuck up now.
Anthrax, Scott Ian, I think, is one of the greatest riff makers with rhythm guitar. Also one of their writers. Charlie was great on the drums. Frank Bello was definitely great on the bass. We're definitely Joey was, Joey's singing was really good. Like, I don't know if I can say Joey's better than Rob Halford. Like, Joey Belladonna really can fucking sing. And so they were the only thrash metal band that actually had a real singer.
Yeah.
It was like having Bruce Dickinson sing for Metallica. To have Joey Belladonna sing for Anthrax, it was, it was pretty good. Antisocial. Anthrax also groundbreaking with rap metal.
Yeah.
Because they did Bring the Noise with Public Enemy.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good. And I Am the Man and Anthrax just love Anthrax.
Anthrax is really good. Anthrax kind of sneaks up on me. Like, I don't always realize I'm listening to it at certain times, but it's like it's always consistently good. Obviously, John knows way more about Anthrax than I do.
That's love Anthrax.
Yeah.
Love Anthrax. Anthrax could have made it higher on this list. I had to take other people's opinions into consideration because I'm talking about the greatest metal of all bands. But I mean, favorites.
Two completely different styles here.
Love Anthrax.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah, it belongs there. I agree. It's good. But all right.
I don't even on your honorable mention.
No, it's not because I knew you'd pick it. So it's like whatever. Like
it's not the fucking NFL draft.
I feel like it is. I feel like Korn and Anthrax are gonna have to play like some power play right now.
Korn. It doesn't make any sense.
I think Korn and Anthrax should play football. Anthrax and Nightwish?
Yes.
Anthrax and Why was Anthrax and Nightwish playing?
The Nightwish needs to get off that fucking list.
Nightwish can play Slipknot.
Hey
man, those Nords will kick some butt, man. Those Vikings and Annette, she scratches, man. She'll go for the eyes. You better watch. You better.
They wear masks.
Well, they better keep those masks on. They're gonna fucking need it. So
what's next?
Yeah, my number 6 is Disturbed. Disturbed in the house. We're dropping plates. So Disturbed is like in terms of metal, this is probably
Hello Darkness, my old friend.
Yes. Disturbed basically.
This is the land of confusion.
Yes. Well, that's another cover from Genesis. But Disturbed is like really what got me into metal. So that's why like much like Anthrax is what got you into it. So like
really?
Disturbed really got me into metal and really got me.
I didn't think you were that much younger than me.
Yeah, I am. This is like a boy. I'm a boy of the '90s, and this is like the most awesome raw shit in the '90s.
This got me away from 2000 band though.
Well, was it?
Yeah.
Well, whatever. It's all the fucking. There's not like look. '90s and the early aughts are like the same 10 years. All right, we didn't know. We didn't have anything to differentiate ourselves with. It was just the '90s part 2. That's all it was. That was the new millennium. But Disturbed, was what really got me into metal, and like from there I got into more classic metal after that. And it was The Sickness just got me into it, and then from there Believe, and it was Disturbed especially there's always I love David Dram's singing. I think he has a powerful voice. He's one of those things.
His voice is phenomenal.
His voice is phenomenal, and it's one of those things. But in comparing it to death metal,
I just don't think they have a classic album. That's why I didn't make my list.
Oh, they do. They do. For my money, their classic album is The Animal. The Animal is like the most raw,
I think
awesome.
Joshua said that album's garbage.
Joshua doesn't know what he's talking about, and next week we can argue with him, or like in Sunday we can argue with him because he'll bring it then. The Animal is fucking. I can't believe he thinks The Animal. No, I talked to him about The Animal. He should know better.
And what did he say?
I don't like. He said, "Yeah, it's good." It was like,
yeah, that's Joshua's. It's garbage.
Oh, that wouldn't he call it garbage then?
No, Joshua's nice.
If Joshua,
my brother is nice.
If Joshua thinks it's garbage,
no,
Joshua.
Let me tell you something.
What he has to say about Maleficent Mistress of Evil is not nice, sir. Okay, we did a dry run. We didn't actually record it, but we've talked about what we're going to say. No, when he really hates something, he lets you know. I think like it's yeah. No, on top of that, he's been actually here's my issue with Disturbed. My issue with Disturbed, I feel like the very last album they did recently wasn't that good. I feel like some of their later stuff is kind of like the one where like Hell and Darkness, My Old Friend. I feel like that's the best song on that album, which is again a cover and more poppy. It's more mainstream. Whereas like some of their older stuff is I think better. Like they do a lot of social commentary, which I like. They tell a story. It's just like every time I hear them, I have a story playing in my head. Believe
just missing something for me.
Believe was very apocalyptic. This is the Way I Pray. It was also like it hit like right around 9/11, and we all needed something, and it was just like
I actually enjoyed Godsmack better than
I think Godsmack's really good. Godsmack's really good. Honorable mention Godsmack. All right.
I'm not saying they're not really good. I'm just saying
Godsmack, Voodoo Godsmack, like has been like hitting me a lot lately.
Not only that, Godsmack Live is awesome.
Yeah, Godsmack, honorable mention. I have an endless honorable mention of Godsmack because I'm a terrible, terrible top 10 writer. But yeah, like so for my money, they have two albums that I'm not feeling, which was the last one with Hell of Darkness, My Old Friend, Sound of Silence, which I think is really good. I really like that one, and it's not terrible, but it just feels like like they have a pot album, they have a pot like anthem on it, and it just kind of like. Yeah, you need to lay off the ganja, man. It's just like because it's just like he's basically talking about how like weed's great, man. He doesn't. I feel like that this is something I would get from a like Weezer or something like that, or something like a different type of band. Am I spitting on you? Sorry, I have a lot to say about Disturbed. And the other one is Just Another Way to Die. I feel like Just Another Way to Die is a weaker song. Is just a weaker album.
I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, that was one. The thing about the actual single Just Another Way to Die is it's an environmental thing. So they're basically talking about how we're fucking the environment up, which is a great sentiment and a great like message. I'm totally down with the message. I just don't feel like they executed it terribly well. But like in terms of like best, I think Believe is. I love Believe. I love The Sickness, and definitely The Animal. The Animal. Indestructible is also great. These are all like songs. I have tracked all of these songs down online and looked up AMVs for that. That's how much I love this. Indestructible, there's a couple on there for Goku from Dragon Ball Z. Fuck yeah. There's some for the Hulk. Fuck yeah. There's and like The Night, I think is like that's my ultimate vampire album. That's my ultimate like it's just haunting and dark and it's great. And then finally The Animal itself. The Animal the whole premise behind that song is it's based on a werewolf. And like whenever I listen to that song, it's just like again I feel it. I feel the rage. I feel the rage of a beast. It's awesome. It tells a great story. What I always imagine like a big crazy brawl. Like it's like I see like the Underworld. I see like Underworld 2, Underworld Awakening. It's just like vampires and werewolves kicking the shit out of each other, and then all of a sudden the Incredible Hulk shows up fighting zombies. And then I see like Hulk, the movie Hulk versus. Just Hulk versus Wolverine and all of Wolverine's bad guys. And Hulk versus Thor and all of Thor's bad guy. And just like, the animal soul is mine. Hulk smash! And he's just fucking people up. And it's great. Disturbed's awesome. John's wrong about everything. I don't know what John's going to say right now. John, your turn.
So,
I think you respected.
Probably would have like Disturbed in some top 50.
You respected my choice of Disturbed. You were
I
Iron Sheik. I respect your choice.
I respected over Nightwish, Hammerfall, and
John was
even Marilyn Manson because Marilyn Manson's not a great band.
I believe your exact words was I respect Disturbed. I respect Disturbed, but I fuck your Manson. I fuck your Nightwish. I fuck your Hammerfall. I fucked him in the ass. You no good motherfucker. He just went full Iron Sheik. Full Iron Sheik.
Number 6 is another great thrash metal band, but also had played with doing heavy metal too in the 90s. They jumped on the Metallica bandwagon. But I think they killed it because I think Cryptic Writings was a
You don't need my phone anymore, do you?
No.
Okay.
I think Cryptic Writings is a really, really good album with a song Trust, and just great writing on it. And they did. It almost didn't make the list because they did have a lot of changes in the band. But Nick Menza was a great drummer that was on there. Unfortunately, the bass player is facing some heat and might be some fucking perv, which I'm not happy about. But anyway,
well, we're talking about canceling people. Manson's like at least almost got canceled like a couple months ago.
Yeah, but he's not a child molester.
Yeah.
We're talking about someone watching child pornography and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So if you haven't figured it out or heard on the news yet, we were talking about Dave Ellefson, and the number 6 is Megadeth.
Great band.
Dave Mustaine.
I don't condone that if that's the case, but I mean, hopefully he's not. We'll see what happens.
Well, they kicked him out of the band. Dave went public and kicked Dave Ellefson out of the band. And you know that Dave Ellefson has been the bass player for Megadeth since day one. Megadeth has been pretty much Dave Mustaine and Dave Ellefson since day one.
Yeah.
Dave picked him up. I think he was like 16, 15.
Yeah. When
they started the band, because Dave got kicked out of Metallica.
Yeah.
Dave, definitely one of the greatest guitar players of all time. He actually plays lead on his band. Most singers like Hetfield play rhythm.
Yeah.
Or bass, which is like a rhythm playing. Not Dave. He's the fucking guitar player, the lead guitar player, doing the solos and everything. And singing. So he's like the Jimi Hendrix of heavy metal and thrash metal. Dave is phenomenal. Dave's guitar work is very instrumental. It's very technical. People who are into guitars really love Megadeth because Dave is like he's just fucking great. Dave writes all the lyrics for Megadeth, a lot of the music itself, even though he doesn't play all the instruments. But Dave has like his hands and everything. Very political band. Yeah. Talks a lot about politics. Talks a lot about the system. Some of the stuff that goes over my head. A lot of apocalyptic stories. Yeah.
They're good storytelling men.
Yeah, really, just great metal stuff. Yeah. Love this band. Symphony of Destruction is definitely my favorite. Yeah. Countdown to Succession.
Hangar 18.
Hangar 18 is a great track. Holy Wars. Yeah. That's another political song, obviously, talking about the jihads, how crazy they are. Yeah. Peace Sells with Who's Buying. That song is hilarious. Killing is my business and business is good. Yeah. Just great band. I mean, even Risk, they took some risk on that one. Yeah. But I liked Crush 'Em and all that stuff on Risk. They decided to go back to thrash metal. Just great, long band. Just and the mascot, you think about Megadeth, you think about that skull guy with the iron hooks in his mouth. And everything. Just I don't know why you didn't mention Megadeth. You should be taken outside and be whipped with
because I knew you were going to pick it.
It's not the NFL draft.
Yeah. So Megadeth has to fight.
So now we're up to the top 5 now.
So Megadeth and Disturbed are going to play football together, and they're going to see who's the better football player.
Here we are.
Megadeth's a really good band. I really enjoy them. And they're another one kind of like Anthrax that kind of sneaks up on me where I don't always realize I'm listening to them. Obviously, John knows way more about them than I do. But yeah, they're awesome. They're really good. And I hope the stuff that's coming out isn't true. If it is, it's a good thing they kicked them out of the band. We'll see. It's but I mean, as a band, they're just, they traditionally do really good music, and it's and they're awesome. So that's a good pick. So as mentioned before, this person would be later on my list. My number 5 is Judas Priest. Yeah, so the reason he's not my number 10 is I feel Judas Priest is so awesome, he deserves to be higher on the list, and I put him up there. For a lot of things you brought up, Rod Helford's awesome. Rod Helford's an amazing singer. I was listening to Rod Helford on the way over here because I've got the Dio This Is Your Life track, and he does Man of the Silver Mountain on on
he
that.
doesn't.
Yeah, he does. Dude, it's raw. It's great, man.
Oh my god.
Oh man, if we have time, I'll show it to you. It's really good.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it just is an amazing singer. He's very influential to metal. He paints a story, he tells a story like Nostradamus, gods of war, breaking the law. He's very. I don't know if I can I think you were more eloquent on how awesome Judas Priest is. I don't know if I can top that. But it's just and on top of that, he's also I guess
they're great. I mean,
Yeah.
Judas Priest is definitely in a lot of people's top 5.
Yeah, consistently
A
good.
lot of people who love heavy metal will even say Judas Priest is the best.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with that. But I mean, my list. Is
They brought metal in, openly gay, progressive. It's like Judas Priest is freaking awesome. So it's definitely. I had to put Judas Priest. It's he's just and he's been in the industry forever, and just cool guy. He's just.
I mean, that movie with I don't know, a lot of people know it, but the movie about Mark Wahlberg is about Judas Priest. That movie Rockstar with Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
Ripper Owens, his biography is loosely based from Mark Wahlberg's character is loosely based on the biography of Ripper Owens, who replaced Rob Halford. And if you notice in the movie Rockstar, the lead singer of that band, Dragon, whatever it's called, he was gay. And so
and it's just Judas Priest is awesome. He's just very influential to rock and metal. I felt I gotta elevate the man up, and he's definitely now towards the end, mine are all in the classic rock territory. I think you might dispute me on a little bit, but I think also we're more kind of closer knit on this one. But Judas Priest is awesome, and that's my number 5.
You're going old school with the rest of
the rest of the old school, because especially as I've gotten older, I've listened to older metal music, and it's just and it's just it's the newer stuff kind of is playing catch up.
So number 5 is the other band responsible for the new wave of British heavy metal. Motorhead was in there, but again, I didn't feel Motorhead was a band. I felt it was
definitely top 20.
It was Lemmy.
Yeah,
so I went with number 5 is Iron Maiden. I prefer Maiden over Judas Priest. I think Bruce Dickinson is a better singer. It's close. It's really close.
I will talk more about Maiden later.
It's really close, and I think you agree with me because we're talking about Maiden later on your list.
I know what you're talking about, John. I don't even know what's the rest on my list.
But
next on my list is Magneto. Magneto's a band, right?
So Iron Maiden meshed progressive rock with metal and with punk. When they first came out, they had was it Paul Di'Anno. Paul Di'Anno was the first singer.
Yeah.
And he struggled because he's a punk singer. You can hear it. To sing a song like Phantom of the Opera, he's really pushing his vocals.
Yeah.
I think he did a good job. Obviously, Iron Maiden 1 was a cult classic. Iron Maiden Killers was a cult classic. Yeah. And there's a lot of songs on there that Bruce still sings.
Yeah.
Iron Maiden actually, for some reason, did an album without Bruce. Well, obviously, that sucked.
Yeah.
And then Bruce came back, and Bruce the man, or they might have done 2 albums. They're kind of very similar to Judas Priest, where Judas Priest, took on Ripper Owens and didn't have that much luck either. But Ripper had a really good voice. I think Ripper was a better replacement than I don't even know the other guy who replaced Bruce. But Iron Maiden, I think the guitar work is slightly better also. I'm sorry to Ian Hill, but Steve Harris is, I think he's one of the best bass players ever. Steve Harris's bass playing is rock. And not only he's a great bass playing, but he was the new version of Geezer Butler.
Yeah.
Geezer Butler invented metal bass playing because Geezer Butler wasn't a bass player; he was a guitar player.
Yeah.
But Tony Iommi said, "I don't need a rhythm guitar player. I play all the guitars."
We'll talk more about these. We'll talk more about these people later.
We need a bass player. So Geezer developed this style of playing bass, very similar to
who's this Geezer and Iommi person that is so influential to metal? I don't. Damn it! I have Nightwish on my list, John.
Exactly.
Who are these people you're talking about?
So Steve Harris was the next Geezer Butler because Geezer Butler wrote most of the material for Black Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
And so Steve Harris wrote almost all the material for Iron Maiden.
What's Black Sabbath, John?
Exactly. So Steve Harris is responsible for writing Number of the Beast, Arcadia 22, Killers, Phantom of the Opera, Flight of the Icarus. I mean, this 12 Minutes to Midnight. I mean, we're talking about, it goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on of all the great stuff that Steve wrote. I mean, it was just phenomenal. There's a lot of mysticism, mythology, and history. I love their historical pieces, like the Trooper.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
Aces High.
Aces High with the World War II fight.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Run to the Hills.
Oh my God, Run to the Hills with the Native Americans. Just the storytelling is phenomenal.
Aces High starts with Winston Churchill.
Churchill talking.
Yeah, the famous Iron Curtain speech. No, not the Iron Curtain speech. It's in the movie he did. It's a famous. I'm fucking stupid. It's a famous speech he did, like when he was basically saying, "Hey, it's on. The Nazis are coming. We got to do."
They
something
really
about it.
paint a story.
We'll never
Number of the Beast.
We'll fight them at the beaches. We'll fight them on the streets. We'll defend our island. We'll never surrender. It's basically say, Nazis are coming. We're gonna fuck them up. That's not as eloquent as Winston Churchill said it, but you know what I mean.
Iron Maiden definitely recreated something. I mean, even when they did Number of the Beast, Vincent Price quotes the Bible, "Woe to you, O earth and sea, for the devil brings the beast that comes with wrath."
Yeah, the number of the beast
It's a human number. The number is 666. So,
and if you're not a crazy conspiracy nut and you know your history, it being Caesar, it's Roman. That's why the Jews were like, oh, the end of the world, the enemy will go away. It was wrong. It was my people. It was the Italians. That's what it was. It was this.
So it was absolutely great stuff.
It wasn't the devil. It was the mob. The mob. You know, Jesus talked a little too much shit in the temple. You know, it's got to get wet.
Yeah.
Got to get wet.
Yeah. So. Oh my God. It's a good thing we're not Christian. So, with that being said, Iron Maiden, number 5. Love Iron Maiden. Next is...
I will talk more about Iron Maiden later. Number 4, Metallica. So, I think you'll talk more about Metallica 2 later.
Yeah, I'm surprised Metallica's so down on your list.
Fair, but Metallica is widely considered by many in this room and abroad one of the best metal bands of all time. And you're right. It's just not my personal favorite, but it's still amazing. And I still listen to Metallica quite a lot. Many classic songs. They're they're consistent. Is like one of the things you always bring up. It's like it's more or less the same dudes, for just over and over again. Just like the guitar is always great, the bass is great, and they always tell a story. It's always, I always can hear it's very beautiful, and it's just always like, and my eloquency, it's so awesome I cannot eloquently describe how awesome it is. It's always like. It combines everything. It's like you can thrash to them. You can they have softer songs that are more soothing. It's like I find myself zoning out when I listen to it often, and always they tell a story, and they go into the fantasy department, but at the same time they talk about a lot of social issues. Master of the Puppets really is about drug abuse. You have let's see, you have another one is One's one of my personal favorites, which is basically the story of a soldier who was basically stepped on a landmine and is basically alive, but all of his functions are gone.
One is the greatest heavy metal song of all time.
Yes.
One is number 1. It's the greatest heavy metal song of all time.
Yes.
Hands down.
There's, again, it always, a ton of images come to me. If a lot of these people if Disturbed makes me think about the Hulk and Wolverine punching each other, Metallica will make me think of something different every time I listen to the same song. It's like it's a whole. If Disturbed is a D&D session, like Metallica is multiple campaigns in one campaign setting. It takes me to a different place. One of the ones I find myself listening to a lot is actually Loaded, and in particular, Load. I always call it Loaded for some reason. I don't know. I'm done.
You're loaded.
I know. Load is one of my personal favorites. I just find myself listening to it a lot. Ain't My Bitch is great. But like my personal favorites on that one would be Mama and Ronnie Frown. Mama, I always think of like it's kind of a softer song, and basically talking to his mother and like just kind of it feels like a song of regret mostly. I think you might know more of the history about it than I do, but it's like whenever I hear Mama, I always picture in The Hobbit when all the dwarves come to Bilbo's place and after they party they start smoking and start talking about lonely, and they sing that song about Lonely Mountain and they're all just mournful. And so I always picture like a group of fantasy characters like around a campfire in a tavern, like after some battle or knowing they're going to go into battle and die, and are just kind of like mournfully singing about what the toll is taken on them. And it always like melds from different things. Like suddenly there are elves there, suddenly there are samurais there. It's like it makes me think of like almost that Seven Samurai feel where it's like you're about to go into a battle where you know you're going to die. To a modern equation to it is like the feeling I get when I watch Rogue One. Like that team of Star Wars characters that are just like, they're not going to make it out. The other one I like is Ronnie Frown, which is about like just a badass who fucks everybody up and kind of goes crazy. And when I hear that song, I always picture the video game Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. I always picture like the fledgling, the main character of that game, and just running into all these different eccentric vampire characters. All I want a piece of him, and at the end of the day, it's like it's him against the world. It's him against all these vampires and humans that are hired by the vampires and werewolves and shit like that. I was picturing like just this one lone badass going in and jacking everybody up. Another like more modern thing that kind of pops into my head with that is like the Real Folk Blues, the last episode of Cowboy Bebop, when just Spike goes in and jacks up the Red Dragon Syndicate just all by himself. So Metallica always does that to me, because Metallica is one of the greatest metal bands of all time. It was not my number one because arguably I'm a crazy person who puts Yondu as my favorite, like one of my favorite superheroes, because I met Michael Rooker a couple times. And but you know, I feel like if I would be completely crazy if it wasn't high on my list, and that's why it's number 4. That's Metallica. Go ahead, sir.
So Metallica is higher on my list. So
it is.
I'm
really.
Metallica,
I don't believe you.
Metallica has had one of the greatest bass players of all time on there. One of the best metal drummers of all time on there. Maybe even rock drummers in general. The only person second to Tony Iommi, if not better than Tony Iommi when it comes to guitar riffing, is James Hetfield. I think he's one of the best writers. And then Kurt Hammett is definitely on anybody's top 100, if not top 10 guitarists.
Mm-hmm.
So, not going to go into detail on that. I think Metallica definitely should be higher on your list. Number 4 for me is Pantera. Pantera is a band that definitely crosses genres. They've done glam. They've done thrash, and of course they've done heavy metal. They kind of teeter-totter with death a little bit. Pantera is full on adrenaline, testosterone. I don't know why it's not on your fucking list.
Pantera, honorable mention on these lists.
Pantera is
I knew you were going to put Pantera. I knew you were going to put Pantera
it's not
on there.
The NFL draft.
Okay, so Pantera and Metallica are a football game.
Oh my fucking god! No, Metallica will win, but Pantera would definitely beat everybody else on that list. Like Pantera.
Hey, the point is, my number 4 beats your NFL draft pick. Pantera in a football game, and that's all that matters.
God. Pantera.
They play a good game, though. They play a good game, slap each other in the butt
God,
at
I mean, Pantera. First of all, Phil Anselmo again has that voice where he can go real gutturally, like Corey from Slipknot, but can also get real, absolutely savage. So he's got that. He can do this beautiful voice, where he sings on "This Love," "Hollow," "Cemetery Gates." They do a beautiful, beautiful cover of Planet Caravan, And I am the biggest Ozzy Osbourne fan there is, and I think he did a better job singing Planet Caravan than Ozzy did. I mean, when he's like, "We sailed," I mean, that man gives me fucking goosebumps.
Yeah,
it is. And then the band did a great job playing that song. The band, the sounds. Dimebag Darrell is one of the greatest guitarists ever. I just don't understand that it's not on there.
Pantera's another one of those bands that I like, but they kind of sneak up on me. A lot of times I don't realize it's them, and then it's like, oh, it's Pantera. Fuck yeah, Pantera. And it's like I think again this is one of those cases where you know more about them. And
they are so fucking good.
They're good. Like everything.
Fucking Hostile would definitely be you if you listen to that song. Fucking Hostile. Someone who has rage problems like you needs Pantera in their life.
See, I've never heard Hostile. That's another.
Oh my god!
That's why again.
Fucking Hostile.
So here's the thing. They're not on my list because I don't know. They sneak up on me. They're good. Whenever I'm like, I listen to Pantera. Yeah, fuck yeah, Pantera. Pantera's great. I don't know enough about them, so that's why I got VH1 over here.
Becoming
can fill me in.
One of the most evil songs of all time.
Part of the reason why we're doing this.
He says, "I can see you, can fuck you inside you, be lit to your brain to serve me, to suck me." Oh my god,
that's raw. Part of the reason we're doing.
And then Dimebag's. I mean, there's nothing like it. It is just absolutely. And then the double bass drums of Vinny.
You just made me think of another honorable mention, Jenna Torturers, because of Let Your Bitch. It's a good song.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah.
Oh!
Bitch in a feed on danger, taste of the hot. I like that one. But obviously, it's not in my top 10.
What I love about Pantera is, like, in a lot of these bands, they can go heavy, but they can still... It's very romantic and very catchy. It's something that you're not going to get out of your head. Mouth for War... Give Me 5 Minutes Alone. I mean, the songs are just extremely, extremely catchy. Just I fucking love Pantera. Rest in Power, Vinnie Paul. Rest in Power, Dimebag Darrell. I mean, I'll be missed. I mean,
see, I know a little bit of the history on that.
Just love that band so much, and I love.
I remember that.
I mean, everybody.
I remember that shit. I remember that shit.
I talk about Iron Maiden, Megadeth, Anthrax, Korn, Slipknot, Judas Priest. I'm going to listen to Pantera over that. I'm telling you, that's how good Pantera is.
Part of the reason why I like to do this show is because between John and Joshua, I feel like it educates me. It gets me into like part of the stuff we're doing. Joshua is like it was like, oh, there's all this comic book stuff that's come out that I haven't watched, and so then Josh is like, why are you watching Quentin reviews all the time? By the way, Quentin reviews is awesome. I love the Carly review; it's great. But like, why am I watching all this weird shit when I could be watching all this better stuff? So to me, this is like educational in many regards. I think when we do the hip hop thing, it's going to be that. And you have plans for doing a bigger metal retrospective, which again I think will be like
I have a special guest on that.
Yeah. So it's important to like Pantera again is like they're consistently good, but I think it's just a matter of like my lack of knowledge about them. And
we make it to episode 10, it's going to be the greatest MCs of all time.
Yeah. So, but
celebrate number 10.
Part of this is going to be
Might be a 3-hour episode.
Okay, we've got a plan for that one.
Yeah, I gotta talk to you about that because
I got Thursdays off for the time being.
Take out work for that one. Well, I gotta see what everybody else's schedule is like too.
Okay, yeah, we'll play by ear. But yeah, Pantera's good, and John's right. I'm dumb for not putting it on my list. But okay, my number 3 is Iron Maiden, which we talked about previously.
I'm not against that. Like,
again, these are more similar as we go higher up. So it's
I'm not against Iron Maiden.
So I love Iron Maiden.
Metallica would even argue with you with Iron Maiden being above them because they are inspired by Iron Maiden.
Yeah, Iron Maiden is awesome for every reason you mentioned. They tell a story. There's a lot of history in it. I'm not sure what I can talk about other than what you've already said before, but I think it's important. We didn't talk about Edgar. We didn't talk about Edgar or Eddie. It's me. It's a big monster. So yeah. Part of what I love about.
I forgot to mention that because that's the second biggest, the first biggest mascot in heavy metal. The next one is I forget the Crossbones guy from Megadeth.
And the and a lot of what I like about metal is again telling a story, the pageantry, the fantasy, sci-fi, dark metal types of aspects to it all. And Iron Maiden does that. Iron Maiden puts me every time I hear Iron Maiden, I see a different story. Partially the one that they're telling.
Power Slave, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. I mean, it takes you to another planet.
Even stuff like Aces High and Run to the Hills, it's like there's the actual story that they're telling, which is historical. So like Aces High, you've got World War II. Run to the Hills, you've got colonialism and genocide of the Native American peoples and all of our fucked up American history. But I always picture that as well. But on top of that, I think one of my favorite things about, like, I love Bruce Dickinson's voice. And in terms of metal songs I can actually sing, Iron Maiden, I can sing Aces High. I can sing Run to the Hills. And it's just like that if you catch me doing karaoke or like singing in the shower, it's going to be Run to the Hills or Aces High. Run to the Hills. And I love it. Fucking love it. Iron Maiden's great.
When he says he can sing it, he means he can butcher it.
I don't. Fuck you. Fuck. I don't care. I don't care. Don't be hating. Don't be hating. I don't care. I don't care. No. Don't you try to shame my hot body. Don't you try to shame my hot voice. I know I'm not the best singer. I don't care. It's that I don't hear you because run to the hills, run for your lives.
It's not that. You know,
so you have an auto-tune function on here, so I can sound better, right?
Yeah.
I'm
not.
All right.
But what I'm saying
I
is
fucking
that
love it, though.
not many can imitate Bruce Dickinson.
Right.
I mean, it's just.
I mean, it gets me in the zone. If you're singing it, it's like it must mean something to you. So Iron Maiden, that's my number 3.
So number 3 is probably the most evilest band to ever grace heavy metal. This band, I won't argue with you why you didn't put them on there. Definitely why they're one of the greatest. The longevity. They probably are the most consistent with their albums. Their album sales are the most consistent. Their record sales, their audience sales. They have a cult following stronger than
I
Insane
didn't put
Clown
them on
Posse.
Because NFL draft.
Oh my god. But this band to me is.
I think this would be more of a rugby match instead of a football match.
Yeah. I think Slayer is the best thrash metal band. So all the other the big 4, they all went ahead and did a heavy metal band or some other type of genre, metal subgenre, right? They didn't stay true to thrash. This band did. This band never stopped.
Yeah.
This band just went it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
The leads, the whole band are they're pushing 60 and they're still. And I mean, I don't know where they get it from.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy in their performances. I saw them live. They sounded just like wax. They were phenomenal. Their storytelling is very dark. It's political also. So they have two things. They're not very multifaceted. So I think obviously we're going to make it higher. But they're just really good at what they do. So they're not a quantity band. They're like quality, and they're very niche, kind of like you and your obscurities.
Yeah.
Which I'm surprised you haven't gotten into this band.
I can't wait
I think this band scares you because you talk about Marilyn Manson being there.
Yeah, that's why it's not on my list.
So
can I do my counterpoint real quick, just like why it's not on my list? It's I
gotta say who the band is first.
Oh, you did say it.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Did I say Slayer?
You said Slayer.
I said Slayer.
You said Slayer.
I said Slayer.
You said Slayer.
I'm gonna say Slayer again. Number 3, Slayer. 3, Slayer.
Do you want to elaborate more? I mean,
no. Go ahead. I'm gonna go back. I'm not done with Slayer.
Okay, all right. Well, Slayer's not on my list because it's one of the ones that I don't know enough about, and they do kind of scare me. I think, but I like that about them. It's like they're another one that sneaks up on me, and maybe it's just the thrash issue. It's like maybe just like I like thrash, but I'm not. Like it doesn't catch me. I'm not in love with it. Like it's one of the times, but it's like it's one of the ones where if I hear it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is fucking good. Is this Slayer? Oh, it's Slayer. Yeah, I'm not as knowledgeable about it, but like
thrash or speed metal is the best genre of heavy metal there is.
And it's like Slayer, I think, is the one I catch the most. I do catch Slayer more than Pantera, and it's like yeah, Slayer's all like consistently good.
Well, Pantera depends. Like Pantera is they are kind of thrash, but they don't consider them thrash.
Yeah.
Pantera is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Pantera is like a mix of Metallica,
Slayer's good.
Sepultura,
I need to listen to more
Slayer, and Probably.
I can't handle Slayer. Marilyn Manson's as scary as I get. Yeah, fine. Go ahead. But they're awesome. And continue.
I mean, Pantera's got some scary shit. Because Pantera sounds like that guy in prison that's going to rape the shit out of you. That's what Pantera sounds like.
It's too scary.
Their Slayer sounds like the demon.
Can we do Taylor Swift right now? Can we stop talking about metal and Taylor Swift? I just want to. I don't feel comfortable right now.
And then Slayer is the demon that's going to rape you in hell.
Yeah.
So,
but when you catch me right, I'm like, yeah! And it's just like, I don't know.
Slayer is just incredible.
Again, this is partially to educate me more. It's like I need to get more into metal and more.
Tom Araya. What I love, Araya, sorry, Tom Araya, which I love that he's Hispanic, he's Latino like me. So there's the Nick Menza from Megadeth. So there's a lot, and then the Brazilian band. So there's a lot of Latinos in there. So if a lot of people think Latinos, they think reggaeton and they think hip hop. Latinos have a really big influence on metal.
Yeah.
Huge. And even my number one pick has another Mexican in it too. Again, Korn has a Latino in it. I can go through the list. I'm not picking...
Weird Al Yankovic. Why'd you pick Weird Al Yankovic for number one, John?
Exactly. But Tom Araya does the bass and sings. Kerry King, great guitar player. Dave Lombardo, with great drums. It's just absolutely great band, and they're awesome.
So who would win in a football game between Iron Maiden and Slayer, or rugby game? Because Iron Maiden's English, so it's like
Really would have to pull up the record sales on them. They both got a really strong following. They both kind of fell into the underground.
This is football.
This
is football. Who would win in a football/rugby match between?
Oh, you talking about physically?
Yes.
I think Slayer would probably kick Iron Maiden's ass.
And they're old too. That's like
they're both old.
Yeah.
Both bands are old.
Yeah.
But I think Iron Maiden's got like 8 years on the Slayer players. So yeah.
Should we just do number 2 at the same time because we both have the same choice?
Did we really?
Yeah.
This is like a first for us.
I think it is.
So we'll bring
the Wiggles for number 2. Like I think there's some deep. I know it's a kids band and it's goofy and we talk about they sing about fruit, but I think there's like a deep message hidden beneath those goofy songs about fruit. Also, they look like the cast of Star Trek, so obviously they're number 2.
Yeah, honorable mention Alf. So number 2,
Alf is awesome.
I guess can we say it in unison?
Yes.
Black Sabbath.
Yes.
There is no heavy metal without Black Sabbath.
Indeed.
Black Sabbath, as anybody knows, invented heavy metal.
Yeah. Iommi, Geezer, and sure enough, they're some of the best of the entire genre. It's like you've been bashing me about like picking frontmen. Like I think like that's the thing. It's like they always shuffle like members a lot of times.
They shuffle,
but they're still
frontman.
They shuffle frontmen, but they're still consistently good. And for me, it was like especially like the Dio era.
At one point, Black Sabbath was just Iommi.
Yeah,
which those albums sucked. Sorry.
Okay. You're all worried about offending like Led Zeppelin. I'm worried about offending Tony. Tony, he doesn't know what he's talking about, man. Just don't worry about it, Tony. We love you, man. Sorry, but I think for me, this is like you had Dio on there and Ronnie James Dio, who's awesome, and then you also have like Ozzy. And for me, like some of the best Ozzy stuff is, I mean, there's plenty of great Dio stuff on Black Sabbath, and that's like part of what makes the band so great. But at the same time,
well, to me, the Heaven and Hell album was classic.
The Heaven and Hell is like that's Dio, that's raw Dio.
It's classic.
And classic. It's like, and at the same, but like in terms when I think Sabbath, I really think Ozzy. And I think like the best of Ozzy. And it's like, so you have like, especially in terms of songwriting, you have like Dio, who's more about wizards and dragons and things like that. Ozzy talks more about like personal stuff.
But Ozzy didn't write most of the Sabbath songs.
Yeah.
It was Geezer.
Geezer wrote it, yeah.
Geezer wrote it.
And
that's why when you listen to Ozzy's solo career, it's not as political as Sabbath.
Yeah. And
he
that's
was more about his own personal demons and stuff.
Now, did Dio wrote on Heaven and Hell, or did they?
Dio,
because he always writes. He always writes.
Right.
Yeah.
So Dio, I think Geezer might have wrote one song on Heaven and Hell, or co-wrote one song, but Dio wrote at least 95% of.
And that's
Heaven
the
and Hell. He wrote all of the Mob Rules.
Yeah, Mob Rules.
And
fuck yeah, Mob Rules.
And then Dehumanizer.
Yeah, oh my god, Dehumanizer so good.
Yeah, so he wrote all of that, and that's why it changed. And then also they sped up.
Yeah,
because Dio made them faster, and so then Vinny Appice, because Vinny Appice came on.
Now Dio took Vinny Appice with it when he left.
Yes, Dio took Appice, and they made Dio.
Because you gave me shit about my number one, which is clearly Lamb Chops, because that one song that Dio and Lamb Chops did together. Who's my number one? Anyway, but I mean, like. The thing is, like in terms of Dio's writing, Dio is very like Wizards and Dragons and things like that, which I love. But when like Geezer's writing, which I always identify with Ozzy, since Ozzy was thinking that, is still fantasy but more horror fantasy. Aleister Crowley, Mr. Crowley.
No, you're definitely confusing two different things. That was Ozzy.
Ozzy wrote that?
Because that's from the Ozzy. That's from the Ozzy band.
Yeah,
that's not from Black Sabbath.
They did that in Black Sabbath too?
No.
Okay.
Black Sabbath is War Pigs, Iron Man,
War Pigs,
Children of the Grave, Supernaut.
But it's still fantasy type stuff.
Dream.
It's still
fantasy. No, a lot of it is political.
Well, it is
Iron Man is science fiction.
Yeah, Iron Man's science fiction. It's like,
And it was based off the Japanese Iron Man. It wasn't based off of the Tony Stark one.
Yeah. And it's like, although, it's, there's a lot of, again, that song always kind of.
The Wizard is based off of Lord of the Rings, Gandalf.
Yeah. But it's like, okay, so maybe I blend Ozzy and a lot of these. Well, you wanted to do the frontman anyway. I always think of
because some of my favorite artists are on there.
When I think of
because Marilyn Manson, Ozzy Osbourne, Rob Zombie, a lot of the people I listen to.
Yeah.
They're not part of the greatest metal bands of all time.
When I think of Ozzy, I think Sabbath, and so I equate Sabbath to Ozzy and his Mr. Crowley type stuff.
That's two different.
So all right, I told you were going to win, John.
It's not.
I told you you're going to. Okay, now who would win in a football match between Black Sabbath and Black Sabbath? I think Black Sabbath would win. But it's like, but like, okay, but politics, like War Pigs is a very political song. And it's just like, it always tells a story to me.
Children of the Grave also warns about nuclear warfare.
Yeah.
What's another one?
Like in terms of what I always get out of music, it always Sabbath always tells me.
They also did the first Christian metal song. Did you know that?
I wasn't aware of that.
After Forever. They talk about, if you don't believe in God, then you might you don't believe in a higher being, you might as well worship the sun.
Yeah.
After Forever is a really powerful song.
One thing is I always love about metal is it always tells a story, and like it always I always get.
Well, that's why metal and hip-hop are my two favorite genres, because I feel that the storytelling is more compelling to me. If I were to fit the movies that I like, they would fit more to have a soundtrack of either hip hop or heavy metal.
Yeah, or a combination of both.
Oh, right, or a combination of both.
So Sabbath, I always whatever the song is, I always get like a vision of some kind. I always see like a story, a crazy sci-fi fantasy story going on. But there's always a deeper meaning. There's politics in there. There's social issues. I think now come to think of it, War Pigs is probably my personal favorite. Out of just raw Sabbath.
That turned me on to Black Sabbath.
Raw Sabbath opposed to my number one, which again is Lamb Chops. Lamb Chop sing along.
I mean, Sabbath has like 7 classic albums.
Yeah.
I mean, the first album created heavy metal,
right?
Which is Black Sabbath, and you have that song Black Sabbath. What is a figure in black? What is this that stands before me? Figure in black, which points at me. I mean, there was nothing like that. We're talking about Tom Jones singing, "It's not unusual to be in love with anyone." The Carlton, that was the guy that was, hey, pussycat, whoa. That's what was going on. And then all of a sudden you have generals gather in the masses.
witches that black masses.
Evil minds that plot destruction.
Sorcerer of death's construction.
I mean, there was nothing like that. You know? And then he says...
And it's warning about warfare, and I see witches and vampires warning about it. It's just like, it hits me on both levels.
I mean, you have on the knees the wall pigs crawling.
Yeah.
I mean... begging mercy for their sins.
Satan laughs and spreads his wings.
I mean, you got this in 1970. We're talking about Satan
and all the...
And on the radio.
And
they were on the radio.
And let's talk about artists being persecuted. And one thing I love about Ozzy is Ozzy's the first person to fucking scream about this. When a certain person who's totally not my number one, when Ronnie James Dio passed away, like, yeah, there were assholes freaking protesting his funeral. And Ozzy, like, when he was talking about it, was quick to point, like, fuck those assholes. It's like they don't understand what this guy's all about. And they would beef. They would beef, especially when the changeover came. It was like he also did a lot of movies. He would guest star in movies where he would bring this up and talk about how, like, it's just poetry. I'm just talking about dark topics. It's not like, but in any great age, the arts always get blamed for shit, and they always get punished for shit. It happened to comic books. It happened to metal. It happened to rap. It happened to video games, movies, violent movies. Like, there's even assholes that don't want you watching anime because they don't want those Asian influences and shit like that. There's all sorts of bullcrap. And it's always the artists are always the ones that take it first. And it's always bullshit, and it's always, like, it's the real evil that's persecuting art. And, like, Ozzy was, like, one of the first... Like, Ozzy and Sabbath got under fire for a lot of that. And I was, like... I always appreciate that, like, Ozzy was always the first person to, like, fire back. It's just like, fuck you. It's just, like...
I used to love Ozzy. I mean... I probably will cry and probably will watch the funeral. You know, I mean, he's not immortal.
Hey, he's alive. He's alive, and he's kicking ass, and he's Ozzy, and we love you, Ozzy.
I mean, back to Black Sabbath, their second album, Paranoid. There's not one song on there that's just it's classic. War Pigs, Iron Man, Paranoid, Electric Funeral.
Crazy Train was Black Sabbath too, or is that just Ozzy?
That's just Ozzy.
That's just Ozzy. I like Crazy Train.
Yeah, so one of my...
Shut up! I like Crazy Train!
Well, because you're talking about Blizzard of Oz. It's one of my favorite albums of all time. That's not Sabbath.
Okay.
I mean, that's a whole...
I always equate Ozzy with Sabbath. I know that's not right.
Yeah, it's two different sounds.
John, why'd you ask me to do a top 10 metal bands? I don't know what I'm talking about. I just like the music. God, you green-blooded Vulcan. You green-blooded, this is your plan. You humiliated me, wasn't it? Jim, the green-blooded Vulcan. I'm not crazy, Jim. Ah!
So Black Sabbath also not only created metal, but also created various subgenres of metal. On their third album, Master of Reality, they also created Christian metal with After Forever, doom metal with Into the Void. The first Black Sabbath song, Black Sabbath, actually creates goth metal. Number 4, Volume 4, creates pretty much what would be industrialized thrash with Supernaut.
Yeah.
And also I love Black Sabbath. They also have like piano pieces in their stuff and acoustic guitaring and the first ballad on a metal album was on Volume 4 with Changes.
Yeah.
That
was when he was leaving Sabbath.
No, not even close.
Was it?
No.
It always feels like it's like I'm going home. Changes. Was that like?
No.
I'm thinking something different.
Changes was actually...
That's coming home. That's awesome.
That's Ozzy.
That's coming home.
Yeah.
Okay, remember, how's Changes go again?
And that was about Sharon. That was like, My Mom Coming Home was about Sharon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Say Goodbye to Romance was about Sabbath, actually.
Yeah.
He's actually saying...
Why does Changes go again?
I feel unhappy. I feel so sad.
That's what I'm thinking.
I lost the best friend.
That's Changes, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Eminem actually sampled that song. Ozzy redid it with his daughter Kelly.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. So I could go on another 2 hours just about Black Sabbath. Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and
my number one, Lamb Chop Sing Along. No, if it wasn't obvious, me alluding to it, my number one is Dio, and rest in power, Ronnie James Dio. So so like out of Sabbath, and I think I think you're gonna hit me on being a frontman thing here. I fucking love Ronnie James Dio. I love everything he's ever done, from all the way back to Ronnie and the Red Caps, Elves, Rainbow, everything he's ever done. And the thing is, it's like but I think as Dio the band, when he did his own thing, it's still consistent. He took Johnny with him. And it's got a ton of great albums. It's got Sacred Heart. It's got Angry Machines. It's got he kept on playing and he brought a lot of his songs and continued to play them as he took forward. So when I think of Dio, when I think of his stuff he did on Rainbow, I don't consider Rainbow for me isn't not the top 10 one because at the end of the day it's Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. And as much as I love all the stuff that's on that, to me that's Richie Blackmore's band, and he left that band specifically because Richie didn't want to do Dragons and Knights anymore. He wanted to do more romance type stuff, and it's like Dio wanted to do his own thing, so he went to Sabbath. It's like whenever Ronnie left or went to, he carried a lot of those classics with him or performed those classics. So to me, it's like the man and the band are kind of indistinguishable at a certain point. So I got to give it to Dio. Dio is like the most powerful for me. Dio is just like, he speaks to me. It's like the man's a dungeon master. It's always fantasy and dragons. There is a deeper meaning in his songs. Not just social comedy. Sometimes it's even more subtle than that. It's raw poetry. Just the way the man writes, the way the man sings. In terms of what you can't stand about like death metal and things like that. You can't hear what they're saying. You can always hear what you're saying. You've talked about how you can't always understand what Dio's saying when he's talking about it. And he confuses me too sometimes. But it's
it's very, because he is I want to agree with you with the fact that you say he's raw poetry, because he allows interpretation, and he said in an interview, it's whatever you want it to be. He doesn't really like to tell you the meaning of the song or what because he wants you to interpret it in your own way.
And I was listening to him on the way over here, so it's on the way over here I was listening to Temple of the King. Temple of the King, it's like you're wondering what are these. The time will come for the time will come when it's time to go to the Temple of the King. You don't know why the men of the Rising Sun are going to the Temple of the King. But there's some kind of danger that they're about to face. It's like there's a lot. Magica's good too. Magica, he has this whole storyline he's building, which is like sci-fi fantasy combination. It's like he's just the guy just writes all the time. Holy Diver, just Rainbow in the Dark. Every Last in Line's amazing. My personal favorite though, and this is probably my personal favorite album as well, will be Dream Evil. Because Dream Evil is raw, 100% H.P. Lovecraft cosmic horror. That is what it is. It is that
Never heard of that album. It's in nobody's list.
Dream. Well, what I don't care. Fuck everybody's list. Fuck everybody's. This is my list. Dream Evil. The dark that you find will come out of your mind. Dream Evil. Take me away. It's don't it talks about things that just should never be, that are calling out to you. Then you will see. It's just it's Lovecraft. It's Cthulhu. When I hear that song, I always picture some kind of haunted, someone going to a haunted place and they discover some kind of ancient evil, some kind of primordial form, and who's there? It's H.P. Lovecraft's author surrogate character, Randolph Carter. Randolph Carter's telling him, no, you have to do this to seal the portal so they don't come out. And right at the end, it was don't open the door. He's being dragged to some other dimension by some tentacle, some horrible thing is dragging him away. Don't go to the edge of rainbow. Don't open the door. Don't go to the edge of rainbows. Don't sleep anymore, or you'll dream evil. And then someone makes it away, but they're touched now for the rest of their life. They can't sleep because they dreamed evil. So, I love Dio. Dio's the man. Boom. That's my number one.
I appreciate Ronnie James Dio. I love Dio, but Dio is not a band.
You respectfully disagree with my opinion, which is fine.
Dio is a man.
Yeah. It's a band too. Wendy Dio's told him specifically, name it after yourself.
Yeah,
that's the reason why.
Ozzy Osbourne has a band, and but I didn't put them on the list. And Ozzy had the greatest guitar player, in my opinion, on his band, which was Randy Rhoads. But I wasn't going to put Ozzy Osbourne band as the number one band of all time for two great albums.
I respectfully disagree. But that's
I mean, Dio really, Holy Diver is the only album that's really it's considered a classic.
Look, I really don't understand why you put Backstreet Boys as your number one. I think it's a really strange choice for a metal album. I don't understand.
So
I understand it.
My number one was his number four, and it's Metallica.
Yes.
So there's nothing that Metallica can't do. Metallica has the greatest writer, in my opinion, on there is James Hetfield. From party songs to talking about the Exodus, talking about one of my favorite songs, "Trapped Under Ice." Where he talks about actually feeling like he's under ice, ride the lightning, talking about being on the electric chair, fight fire for fire, which is also political commentary, talking about apocalyptic war, satire. Master of Puppets talking about drug overdose. But the only thing about Metallica is that they took what
Two by
Black
Four.
Sabbath did, and they took it to another level. So yeah, thrash is faster than the new wave of heavy metal and Judas Priest and Iron Maiden. But they cleaned it and refined it really good.
Mm-hmm.
And they put it with great writing and great guitar work. And they also, when you listen to a Metallica song, you would also hear like some colonial folk type music and all of, and you're listening to it just kind of like Black Sabbath, and all of a sudden and it would just kick into high gear.
Yeah.
And the solos, the blistering solos Kurt Hammett is, Dio band doesn't have a Kurt Hammett on there. And that's why he's not. You gotta have a phenomenal guitar. So if you would have put if you would have put Rainbow on there, I would have had more respect because Richie Blackmore is a god. But
he is a god. Honorable mention: Richie Blackmore's Rainbow.
But when we're talking about bands, I'm looking for.
I do feel like at work tonight, I'm going to see a vision of Richie Blackmore just haunting me, just like
pretty much. But
like really, motherfucker, really.
Metallica had Cliff Burton, which I think was one of the greatest bass players of all time. Unfortunately, rest in power, Cliff Burton. But then after that, Jason Newsted, I think, did a phenomenal job. And the Jason stuff is absolutely fantastic. And Justice for All is my favorite. Yeah, is one of my favorite metal albums. That would be
Metal Militia. Metal Militia is good.
Metal Militia is a great song.
Ooh, Lovecraft Call of Cthulhu.
Right, yeah. So that was an instrumentation. They do great instrumentations. This band is talented. We're talking about they play with a symphony.
Yeah.
I think it sounded freaking phenomenal. This band they're going to be studying Metallica for years to come.
Yeah.
Then they went ahead and switched it up and went to more back to the heavy metal roots with the Black Album. The Black Album is one of my favorite albums of all time too.
So you think that Metallica would beat Ronnie James Dio?
I think Metallica beat anybody. Okay. Metallica is they're the most consistent out of all the bands. Yeah. To me, Metallica doesn't have not one album that's not a classic.
But Dio has a dragon, so in terms of football.
Metallica has not one bad album. To me, even Saint Anger is a classic.
We brought this up earlier.
Reload's a classic.
Yeah.
Death Magnetic with Rick Rubin.
Saint Anger may be their worst album, but when the greatest band in the world has a bad album, it's still better than whatever you could have made. So there you go. You know what I'm saying?
Death Magnetic was, oh my god, the solos on Death Magnetic. If you haven't,
Buffy the Vampire Slayer's worst seasons are 6 or 7. They're still better than most shows.
If you haven't listened to Death Magnetic from cover to cover, the solos are some of the best stuff that Kurt Hammett's ever done.
Yeah.
And I'm challenging you to listen to Death Magnetic and compare it to Master of Puppets and Justice for All.
I think I have listened to Death Magnetic.
Oh my god, Kurt Hammett.
I need to listen to it again.
It definitely flicked off everybody who was talking trash about fucking Saint Anger.
Yeah.
Like he fell off or something. I'm telling you, Death Magnetic, the solos are just... They're wild.
Well, we're going to talk about hip hop later, and in terms of Eminem, Eminem kind of had a bit of a fall from grace in terms of quality. And even then, I think you and I both agree, Encore, which is the one he gets derided for the most.
No,
I still fucking love Encore.
He gets shit on the most for the Revival, the one he's talking about Donald Trump.
But
that's the one that he gets shit on.
Oh, and I wonder why he's getting shit on because of that. Because, he didn't like Donald Trump, America, blah, blah, blah. Fuck you. Whatever, fuck you. It's Eminem's raw, man. It's just and even then, even when Eminem does fuck up, it's still better than what most MCs can pull off.
So
it's I'll take Eminem playing around with freaking Triumph the Insult Dog King any day of the week over a bad MC.
Listen, I love Eminem, but I'm still on Metallica. Wrong.
Sorry.
So
I was trying to break contrast.
Metallica's last album, Hardwired Self-Destruct, just fucking great. Metallica is just the greatest band of all time. The songs in there. They captured me in high school when I listened to Sad But True, and he's talking about all these horrible things that he got him to do, and then it's like the guy's looking in the mirror, he goes, "I'm you, sad but true."
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's no one better that writes better than James Hetfield. It's just the greatest band of all time, and of course, I think Robert Trujillo. Was great replacing Newsted for Death Magnetic and Hardwired to Self-Destruct. They're working on another album.
Then
they inspired so many people. They have a cover album by other artists.
Yeah.
They did 53 tracks of the Black Album. And I mean, Miley Cyrus is on there. There's country stars on there. The Darius Rucker's on there. Yeah. Some other metal bands are on there too. It's just, I'm dying to get it.
Yeah. I was thinking of, like, we were talking about One is the greatest of all time.
Oh,
which
yes.
I think, yes. But I was also thinking of, like, Give Me Fuel, Give Me Fire, Give Me That, Which I Desire. It's like,
that's a good one.
That's a really good one. It's like, that's like
that should be the official song in NASCAR.
That's like a party one. That's like a really good party one.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like, it's like...
That should be the official song in NASCAR.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this.
Yeah. What are we doing next time, John?
So I sent you a text, but you didn't answer me back.
For our audience, so they know, like, what we're gonna do next time. But they're making me freaking, like, look at stuff.
Yeah. Where did I set it? Because I also wanted Starkiller to be on this one.
He'll bring us our list and our thing most likely.
So yeah, I was thinking about the 100 greatest. The 10. I keep saying 100. I don't know why I keep saying 100. The 10 greatest hard rock bands of all time. The 10 greatest heavy metal frontmen of all time. Or
McDonald's, the good, the bad, and the
McDonald's, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I don't know.
So this is the bro show, and I thought, what dude doesn't fucking get wasted or loaded or smoke out or whatever, and has not run into McDonald's, or what dad has not dealt with McDonald's?
So we're just gonna talk about how fat we are in that episode.
That too, but I mean, I do. I got pricing I want to talk about, history I want to talk about, quality. Why is there one in every fucking corner? Big Mac versus Whopper. There's so much that I could talk about McDonald's. And I don't give a fuck. Y'all think I'm fat. Fuck you. Y'all, you fucking eat at McDonald's. A lot of people eat at McDonald's.
We need an editor.
McDonald's is everywhere.
So, like, before I got here, I was talking about stuff I want to do. It's like, I really need an editor because I can't edit and I suck. But it's like we need, like, yeah, I think, like, that's, like, a great idea for a video essay. And we should, I would do it, but I can't edit. And I don't have all the material I would need to do it. So, that would be a good idea. But that's, okay.
If you just wanted to go in on McDonald's, because it's going to be the good, the bad, and
I think let's take a look in the comments. So we want to, like, have the people in the comments decide, or, like, 10 greatest metal heavy frontmen, top 10 greatest hard rock bands of all time, or McDonald's, the good, bad, and the ugly. It's like, I think that would be good to go. One way or the other, I'm going to have to do research of some kind, one way or the other. It's just like...
You shouldn't have to do any research on McDonald's. I think you have enough qualifications there.
That was hurtful. And on top of that, it's like, I eat McDonald's. It's kind of hot. Hey, look, Baby Yoda's ears are tickling.
Spider senses are tingling.
Oh, God.
It's my version of Terry Crews.
I mean, I don't know how knowledgeable I would be about McDonald's. I mean, it's an interesting topic. I feel...
What do you mean? You're like a fucking connoisseur of McDonald's.
I'd like to... Yeah, but I don't know everything that they're doing. Like, I could talk about the Shamrock. We can't see me or you in this one. There we go. What do you want to do? Talk about the Shamrock Shake?
Yes, everything. Everything and anything on it.
It's Shamrock
the
Shake.
Shamrock Shake. The fucking apple pie. Why is the cheeseburger went from 59 cents to $1.39 for crying out loud? Talk about helping out the goddamn economy.
Oh, that has to do with the economy. Because it was like, that's basically...
The fucking gas went down. The fucking burger...
But the price of food probably went up. So
the cheeseburger should not go up. Are you fucking kidding me? And why do you have a dollar meal and there is no dollar on it anymore? The dollar menu. What is it there for? To remind me when it used to be a dollar menu?
Yeah, to trick you.
That's what I'm saying.
So this is probably what we're going to talk about next time. I'm not sure. I think
I'm telling you.
You're selling me on this as a topic.
I could go in on McDonald's bad. Yeah. And I know you can because you eat McDonald's. How many times you got a Big Mac and got fucking disappointed?
I'm totally not going to
The Big Mac looks like probably a shriveled up titty.
I'm totally not going to go there.
Put it to 2 patties.
I'm totally not going to go there right now when I leave because I'm going to go to work and be stuck there for 8 hours. I'm totally not going to eat a bunch of fat stuff, even though I've earned this. I've earned the fat. Anyway, but okay. It's one of those we're going to talk about next time. I don't know which. But yeah, you're selling me on this. You're selling me on this, sir. Joshua and I should be able to talk about Maleficent, Mr. Medieval Sunday. We keep pushing it back, and hopefully he'll have his list of metal bands by the time we get there too. Do you want to spend some more time and do a rap song about like our last? Like,
No.
You sure?
No.
Because I think like if you spent, I think you took some time and wrote it. I think you do a great job. I believe in you.
Yeah.
I believe in you, sir.
We'll see.
So,
all right. Next time.
Yeah, I gotta go to work and I feel fat now because we talked about McDonald's right before we left. But metal music, yay! So okay, we're heading out. Catch y'all later.
Peace.
Tune next week for the Bro Show.